5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody. This is Super Blaze of the Thriller Campaign, and this is the Autonomous Party Podcast and Mix Show. Let's get into the mix real quick. All right, this is the campaign mix. If it's your first time on here, you know what I mean, you can go back and hit replay, and you will see all our other podcasts that we've been did, all our mix shows, you know what I mean, some fire music up here. You know what it is. Let's get into it real quick, man.
You take the clothes off my back.
We're inside the Music Media Lounge, you know what it is. MusicMediaLounge.com.
Right out my mouth.
Log on to theautonomousparty.com.
Do it and I still don't know
Got some fire merch up there, you know what it is.
why I love you so much.
Shout out to my Aboriginals out there, you know what it is. You know what time it is. You know what we do up here.
You curse my name in spite to put me to shame.
Yeah, you listening to
Have
Super
my
Blaze.
laundry in the
Let's go.
streets, dirty or clean. Give it up for fame, but I still don't know why.
Shout to Mac Ether with the Kether.
I love it so
Light Degree
much.
on the boards. You know what it is, man. I am Super Blaze through the campaign. Let's do this.
And baby, it's amazing I'm in this space with you. I just can't crack your code. One day you're screaming you love me loud. The next day you're so cold. One day you're here, one day you're there, one day you're there. You're so unfair. Sipping from your
Yeah,
cup
you
till
listening to
it's
Super
running
Blaze.
over. Holy grail.
Blue told me remind you niggas. Fuck that shit y'all talking about. I'm the nigga. Caught up in all these lights and cameras. But look what that shit did to Hammer.
Yes. How was your week?
God damn it, I like it. Bright lights is enticing. Look what it did to Tyson. All that
I had a rough one myself
30 mil for
on
one.
these highways and byways, man. You know what it is.
Blows. All the
We out here getting it, you know what I mean?
fucking fame keep cheating on me. What I do, I took her back. Fool me twice, that's my bad. I can even blame her for that. Enough to make me want to murder. Mama, please just get my bail. I know nobody to blame. Kurt Cobain did it to myself.
And we all just entertainers. And we're stupid and contagious. No, we all just entertainers.
Yeah. We at war.
You know what it is, man. Shout to Yang.
We at war.
He always been holding it down for us out here.
Racism. But most of all,
Where is Ye right now, man? We ain't hear from you in a minute. What's good?
God show me the way because the devil's trying to break me down. Yeah, you listening to Super Blaze.
With all this
We at war.
Drake Kendrick situation going on out here.
Terrorism,
Well, yeah, man.
racism.
No beats, no nothing. Well, it's really good, man.
We at war with ourselves. God show me the way because the devil's trying to break me down. You know what the Midwest is, young and restless, or restless. Might snatch your necklace, and next thing might jack your Lexus. Somebody tell you who Kanye West is. I walk through the valley of the shadow where death is. Top floor, if you alone and leave you breathless. Try to catch it, it's kinda hard getting choked by the Texas. Yeah, now check the method. They be asking us questions, harassing, arresting us, saying we eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast, huh? Y'all eat pieces of shit? What's the basis? We ain't going nowhere but got suits and cases. A trunk full of coke, rental car from Avis. My mama used to say only Jesus could save us. Well, mama, I know I act the fool, but I'll be gone to November. I got packs to move. I hope
Shout to Tick Music Media Lounge.
cause the devil's trying to break me down.
Getting the vibe right, you know what I mean?
The only thing that I pray is that my feet don't fail me now. And I don't think there's nothing I could do now to right my wrongs. I wanna talk to God, but I'm afraid cause we ain't spoken so long. God show me the way because the devil's trying to break me down. Yeah, you listen to Super Blaze. That's the only thing that I pray is that my feet don't fail me now. And I don't think there's nothing I can do now to right my wrongs.
talk to God, but I'm afraid to leave smoking so long. So long.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Like that.
You listening to Super Blade? Let's go.
Feel good to you. So good to you.
Let's get it.
Yeah, it feels good.
You know what it is, man? Super Blaze campaign mix.
So good to you.
You can hit the request line inside the chat. Let me know what it is. Let's go.
Get a suntan, bitch. Take that.
The game ain't been the same since B.I.G. died and Wu swarmed on New York from out that beehive.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about MCs got
Don't
skill.
talk to 'em.
Don't talk to me about who's the king of the hill.
Don't talk to 'em.
Don't talk to me about who's the best alive or who's in your top 5, cause he's not ill.
He's not
real
ill.
Recognize real, stick to your deal. Try to make a cool meal off the single with that ringtone to pill. 50 years you'll be nil. Nil by mouth, my pill down south. It's like the nation of Islam when I lead, not listen out. Universal change from what appeared is just about. All aboard, it's the last train. Soul train, a bottle of Ciroc can turn the private jet to soul plane. Put your seats back, your tray downs and feet up. Cause we about to heat up.
Fasten your seatbelts. Let's go. Yeah, like that. Feel good to you. Like that. So good to you. Party people in the place to be. Feel good to you. As it's plain to see. We are the truck grooving, the body moving, the record breaking, and the record taking. Yeah. It goes a little something like
you
this.
listening to Super Blade? Let's
From
go.
Baton Rouge to Jerusalem, whack crews we bruising them. Crooked mouth, flat-footed cops, man, we losing them. Let me see some ID. Nigga, fuck a ID. You be getting head from crackhead.
Electronica.
Mr. Officer.
Mr.
Please observe my skin tone. Please observe the proper.
Veronica to you.
Brimstone, flow so Tolstoy. Come in your door, Tolstoy. Half oyster, half shrimp, fully dressed cold boy. Lyrically, unfuckwittable, unforgettable. One tough miracle. Competition's none, I leave them dumbstruck. Critical, that's some luck. Pitiful. Better luck next time. Young, black, and restless. Young, black, and reckless. My name's on every guest list. Bang on every set list. Went to London town, tow it down and threw my necklace. Even Twitter said that J-Elect be on that next shit. I should get rest
like that. Yeah, like that. Yo. Hey, yo, ladies and gentlemen, what you have just witnessed is the start of something big. The record making and the record taking. Yeah, we are.
If someone spoke at this
Yeah, you listening to Super Blade? Let's go.
less to say. Oh,
Check the chat.
be
We vibing to the chat. Pull up.
all this time.
Super Blaze campaign mix. Come on, let's do it, man.
Who's gonna save my soul now?
Who's gonna save it?
Who's gonna save my soul now? How will my story ever be told now? How will my story be told?
Love is conditional. I never knew that Mary put a hole in my fishing boat. I got to tripping mo. She went to bitching mo. The court of universal law said it wasn't permissible. She went to Forte, I stayed pianissimo. Then I went to Forte and she went to physical. Should I go? Should I stay and withstand the additional attacks on the mental and the physical? It's gonna get dangerous. Why waste time in these childlike exchanges? Why waste time with these childlike games? It's just make up to break up. Crying all the time, baby, messing up your makeup. Try and scratch my face up. She say I need communication, Jay, but you don't say much. I know it ain't okay, but I'm from where niggas keep their mouth closed and the gate shut. It seemed like only yesterday that I was just a kid in Christian Dior velour. Valleys in the shape up, spinning on cardboard and trying to rip a breakup. Life comes at you fast. I went from sleeping in class.
We rocking with the electronica right now.
Where I wake up, when I was hit with trial, I slipped into survival mode.
We vibing.
A lot of shit a nigga.
Wait till the chat pull up and see what it is, man.
Be sitting on the couch with a blanket. I be at the homeless shelter, Jefferson and Bankhead. A jack sipping dankhead. Making sure niggas don't steal my clothes. Trying to make a path so I fulfill my goals. Trying to take a bath so I can heal my soul. A little bit of laughter to conceal my woes. Who gon' save me?
Still my hunger turns to greed. Cause what about what I need? Oh,
Peace. Shout out to Miss Angela. What up? Welcome.
Who's gonna save my soul now? Oh, I know I'm out of control now. Ooh, tired enough to lay my own soul down.
Man, you know what it is, man. Call a friend, tell a friend, man. We live out here. This is the Autonomous Party Podcast and Mix Show.
Crazy.
You can log on to the autonomousparty.com. You can check us out live right now. Inside the Music Media Lounge. We live in the lounge, man. You know what it is. Shout to Tig, man, for real. My whole 954 family. You know what it is. Lauderdale, let's go.
Once upon a time, there was a little youth, the cub of a lion, stowed away captive, a long way home from Zion. The dove Prince sang about in purple rain, crying to the midget you heard tell of on the shoulders of the
Listen, I
giant.
ain't my son, sir. You gotta call my son, sir. That boy already knighted. He ain't even on his rumper. You speaking on the kingdom, you better watch your tongue, sir. I send you where you've never been. You forget where I'm from, sir. That gossip I send ball heads. You gossip out the gun, sir. I'm brazy, I'm so brazen. I'm raising in the sun, sir.
You can catch this broad daylight. You know the kingdom comes, sir. That wheel is hot, the wheel a half a mile in circumference. It's the return of the Magdi, it's the return of the Akis. It's the return of the lost and found tribe of Shabazz, the Anunnakis. It's the return of Mr. Shakur spitting out phlegm and paparazzi.
That's my new style.
Blinding by the light, see the stars in our eyes.
The gift that keeps giving like babushka. Kush crushed up in the studio, rolling K push up.
Extra, it's Mr. Headlines who signed every contract and missed the deadlines. 40 days, 40 nights, trying to live up to the hype. It's the road less traveled, it's the one who missed the flights. Hold 50 up like, what you scared of heights? Know your sister tired of working, gotta do her something nice. I'm like, don't even know I stay up for fouling late nights. She need bread, she need rice, she need thread, she need ice. Either tell it to my bank account or say it to the dice. When I lay down in my bed, it's like my head in the vice. When I look inside the mirror, all I see is flaws. When I look inside the mirror, all I see is bars. In the wee hours of night, trying to squeeze out bars. Bismillah, just so y'all can pick me apart.
Yeah, you listening to Super Blaze. Let's go.
DJ Super Blaze is in the mix. Bang, 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 bang.
Let's slow down a little bit real quick for the ladies. Let's go. This is the campaign mix, man, for real. 8 to 9 o'clock. Each and every Sunday.
PM.
What time?
And send a text to your DM.
You gotta pull up at 8 p.m. We live with it.
I'll come and slide by 8 p.m. and send a text to your DM.
Shout out to Miss Angela. Maroon to you. Maroon to mama. We just vibing.
Fucking nails.
Campaign mix. Super Blaze.
You running out of shoes
For the campaign. You know what it is.
So I bought you another pair. Girl, I got you another dress. So bring your ass up down them stairs. I buy you shit because you rare. I'm pressed because you know I care. Bitch, you know you love it here. That's why you keep on coming there. Your nigga can't compete, I swear. He tried but now he look too weird, baby. I'll come and slide by 8 p.m. and send a text to your DM. 500 for your fucking ass. 200 for your fucking nails. You running out of shoes to wear. So I bought you another pair. You running out of shoes to wear. So I bought you another pair.
I'll come and slide by 8 p.m.
What did I do to deserve you? Don't even know what I did. Been praying on it since a kid. I guess it's just luck if you say so. How you get all of that body and face though? What kind of water they serving in clay cold? This is me talking, it's not DNA ho. Ready to pop out, but we gotta lay low. I really gotta calm down. Before I end up in jeopardy, just like the game show. Broski, my twin, that's my bestie. He love me, said I got a blessing. I swear he's gassing me up. There's no way in hell I see you passing me up. Almost said I loved your ass right after we fucked. Don't know why, girl, it was on the tip of my tongue. Yeah. Found someone I'm falling for. You hit me back with talking more now. The bodies that you caught before, they don't make me mad or insecure. I'm good. 1,000 on your fucking hair. 200 on your fucking nail. Yeah. This shit feel like a fairy tale. I swear, I'll make them open up Chanel. I'm a stand-up guy like Dave Chappelle. I was cursed, you about to break the spell. For real. Tell the nigga that you down with him. Girl, who cares if he gon' take it well, you're done.
Yeah, you listening to Super Blaze. Let's go.
A little slide for my ladies. You know what it is, man. 1 + 1. Let's go.
Okay.
All to you. These feelings I have for you can go deeper if you can come correct with your game, boy. No, you can't be lame, boy. But if you can please me, then my love will come easy. I'll do anything you want. Freak me, boy. I'm thinking of you.
Check. Check. There you go. Shout out to Miss Sherry. What up, Miss Sherry? I'll run up there to you.
Yeah, you listening to Super Blaze. Let's go.
I don't know, man. That line right there, Drake. I don't know, bro. Like, I just got some love deep inside of me. What? Please drag it out of me. What are you talking about? What is he talking about, bro? Man, that's why Kendrick smacking him right now, bro. I ain't even gonna lie, man. Let me, man. Hold up, man. Let's play this clip real quick before I even get into that. Let's play this clip real quick.
I know there was a lot of disdain between these two, but there has to be a better solution than duking it out. I'm not sure if he's trying to escape or take this fight into a new and dangerous direction. Not wasting any time now. This superstar darting towards their opponent. It's gonna be an all-out war. These two won't even wait for the opening bell. The official desperately trying to separate these two, but I'm not sure that's going to be possible. Oh no! Don't do it! Don't do it! Whatever's playing here can't be good. Oh my God! Someone is seriously going to get hurt here.
He don't like Drake either. You know what I'm saying? It is weird, man. Rest in peace, DMX. He wasn't messing with Drake either. So, you know what I mean? Y'all let me know, man. Who y'all going for in this situation, man? Kendrick or Drake? You know what I mean? I'm still waiting on J. Cole a little bit, but boy, Kendrick been out here.
Them superpowers get neutralized. I can only watch in silence. The famous actor we once knew is looking paranoid and now spiraling. You're moving just like a degenerate. Heavy antic is feeling distasteful. Why calculate? You're not as calculated. I can even predict your anger. Fabricating stories on the family front, cause you hurt Mr. Morale. A pathetic master manipulator. I can smell the tails on you now. You're not a rap artist, you're a scam artist with the hopes of being accepted. Tommy Hilfiger stood out, but FUBU never had been your collector. election. I make music that electrify 'em. You make music that pacify 'em. I can double down on that line, but spare you this time. That's random acts of kindness. Know you're a master manipulator and habitual liar too. But don't tell no lie about me, and I won't tell truths about you.
Yeah, you listening to Super Blaze. Let's go.
DJ Super Blaze. That's in the mix.
Bang, bang, bang. Beat, 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 beat. Yeah, I'm out the way, yeah, I'm low, okay. Yeah, the island right here is remote, okay. I ain't thinking about no reaper, nigga, I'm reaping what I sow, okay. Got a Benjamin and a Jackson all in my house, like I'm Joe, okay. Hell, okay. Made his homeboys and them types LA solo, okay. Everybody wanna be demon till they get chipped by your throwaway. And I might do a show a day. Once a lame, always a lame. Oh, you thought the money, the power of fame will make you go away. Have you ever played? Have you ever? Okay, nigga, let's play. Have you ever watch your enemy down like with a poker face? Have you ever paid $500,000 like to an open case? Well, I have, and I failed at both, but I came out straight.
I hate when I rap or talk about guns, then somebody die, they turn into nuns, then hop online like pray for my city. He faking for likes and digital hugs. His daddy a killer, he wanna be junior. They must have forgot the shit that they done. Dementia must run in his family, but let it get shaky. I park your son. The very first time I shot me a Drake, the homie had told me to aim it this way. I didn't point down enough. Today I show you I learned from those mistakes. Somebody had told me that you got a ring. On God, I'm ready to double the wage. I'd rather do that than let a Canadian nigga make Pac turn in his grave. Cut the business, you got shit twisted. What is it, the brakes? I hurt your feelings, you don't work with me no more. Okay. There's 3 ghosts left, and I see 2 of them kissing and hugging on stage. I love them to death, and in 8 bars I'll explain that phrase. It's nothing nobody can tell me. I don't want to talk on no selling. You know I got language barriers. There's no accent you can sell me. You're cold and ivory, no, I'm a selfish nigga. The crown is heavy. I pray they my real friends. If not, I'm YNW Melly. I don't like you popping shit at Pharrell for him. I inherit the beef. Yeah, fuck all that pushing P. Let me see you push a T. You better off spinning again on him. You think about pushing me. He's Terrence Thornton, I'm Terrence Crawford. Yeah, I'm working feet.
Boy, you out here calling Pusha T name. I know, you know, he'll hop right up on that just because you said Pusha T. He ain't got nothing to do with it, but you know what I mean? It is what it is. Man, like, yo, let me know what y'all thoughts is on this situation, man. You know what I mean? For real. Shout out to Tecumseh. What up, brother? Shout out to all the good work you're doing out here, man. Let's get back to our indigenousness real quick.
Yeah, you listening to Super Blaze. Let's go.
Let's get back to us for a little bit. Shout out to Drake Cobbs. What up, my bro?
Swear we gon' die every day. They say Jesus gon' save us. Well, I know we die if we wait. I know we die if he can't. They tell us we black, but we ain't. Aboriginal, native, yeah, we gon' die every day. Cause we don't know what we can't.
Yeah, you listening to Super Blaze. Let's go.
Bang, bang, bang. Swear we gon' die every day. Swear we gon' die every day. They say Jesus gon' save us. Well, I know we die if we wait. I know we die if he can't. They tell us we black, but we ain't. Aboriginal, native, yeah, we gon' die every day. Cause we don't know what we can't.
We been here, lived here, open borders, got deported, fought for rights. Kidnapped, bitch slapped, blacked out, covered up, washed white. Drugged up, slugged up, beat bread, left for dead, fuck your life. It's all a plan, kill your man, take your land, slave your kids, rape your wife. Why y'all look so mad if all this shit I say is true? Why y'all look so mad if all this shit happened to you? White man quick to tell you, you was a slave, nothing before me. He himself only been free since 1840. Young recording, I'm an ancient Egyptian from Atlantis, head straight for Canada, that's Israel. Nothing fake about me, no capping rapping, I just fed the ink and I'm digital. No caveman, I'm original. Kentucky fried, extra crispy, wear a lot of gold, cause my family history. I'm the guy to know, I bring death to history.
We gon' die every day. They say Jesus gon' save us. Well, I know we die if we wait. I know we die if he can't. They tell us we black, but we ain't. Aboriginal, native, yeah, we gon' die every day. Cause we don't know what we can't.
Feeling like I'm sorry. I don't need no driving license. Just a beauty like a license. That the ride or die and steal the show. You know they tried to drown me in Admiralty, but I'm alive, they can't bury me. Now I'm wealthy and scholarly. Walk on the sea like I'm JC. Now I'm doing.
Black Jagger, Ascension. Gotta ascend. Let's get it in, man.
Feeling like I'm sorry. I don't need no driver's license. Just the beauty like a license. That the ride or die is still the show. You know they tried to drown me in Admiralty, but I'm alive, they can't bury me. Now I'm wealthy and scholarly. Walk on the sea like I'm JC. Now I'm doing bigger, better. I'm changing atmospheres. Levitate, meditation clears the mind. Keep it so clear. Don't you let them use you. Keep your weapon near. Celebration is the only way out. Yeah. Gotta be tired of dying and burying people out. Yeah. I know it's hard cause they some birds. They pull up, yeah, they click back, they do dirt. They go home, then they'll get back. But they can't bother me, nah. Cause I'm not property.
Enemy of my tribe, I mine, so what's happening? Government and all y'all cross the line, so what's happening? My ancestors wouldn't like you cross the line, so what's happening? We original, y'all GMO, y'all lying. I do this for my Nietzsche. Oh yeah, my Nietzsche. I do this for my Nietzsche.
Shout out to my Aboriginals out there, my Nietzsche. What up?
My Nietzsche. I do this for my Nietzsche. Enemy of my tribe, I mine, so what's happening? Government and all y'all cross the line, so what's happening? My ancestors wouldn't like you cross the line, so what's happening? We original, y'all GMO, y'all lying. I do this for my Nietzsche. Oh yeah, my Nietzsche. I do this for my Nietzsche. I do this for my Nietzsche. Should've left me where I was, cause I ain't never scared. Took that little ice off my neck for this arrowhead. My nation, my Nietzsche, someone thorough said. Real Americans, still pure blood, we thoroughbred. I'm like, let my people go and just take me instead. When it's red or blue pill, I'm only choosing red. I'ma always choose my people, you can keep that bread. Our government owe $1 trillion, you can keep that bread. It's one thing Jim Crow is showing me. I don't want no white folks ruling over me. I don't want no politicians ruling over me. I don't want no po-po ruling over me. Only somebody that's like me gon' treat me like me. I'm Iron Wire Cherokee, Chief and Dr. G.L.E. I'm still a G like EST. You might not be as G as me. Think you free, but you need remedy to be as free as me. I'm from the hood, I'm still waking up my people. They got us good, they still hating on my people. When it comes to fashion, the whole world wanna be like us. When it comes to music, the whole world wanna be like us. When it comes to dancing, the whole world wanna be like us. Foreigners are doing everything, trying to weaken us. Sports, y'all can't fuck with us. Rhythm, know we killing y'all. Anything involve a ball. Mentally,
Rhyme so dope, my eyes low. When you move like God, the time slow. I came back for the blacks and shine those. Crack open them land pads, let go in them town home.
Black Coach Trey Ali, man, let's get it.
Rhyme so dope, my eyes low. When you move like God, the time slow. I came back for the blacks and shine those. Crack open them land pads, let go of them town homes. What's a native to a native? Eat $5 dough if he not melanated. Pale faces got you waiting on a savior. Sending prayers up, you texting back on vacation. God's children. Give all your praise to Jesus, but how God feeling? He say put no one before him in divine image. It's you with God and Christians. I got a vision, but niggas ain't gotta listen, so they don't. We came from the soil, wasn't fucking with no boats. Bible took our spirit, English potted on our homes. Tribal families turn on us, don't act like y'all don't know. But fuck them and they grudges. We was something turned to nothing. And now we nothing's turned to something. Reincarnation of angels, fresh up out the oven. This the message to the black man. 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 Shooters on my roof, lawyers in the coop. We can never die, bitch, we bulletproof. This the message to the black man. This the message to the Tell you wasn't slaves, you was prisoners of war. You stop wasting your time, these other bitches ain't important. You ain't meditating, you ain't mating with the source. Like what the fuck's a noodle if you ain't painted with the sauce? I find it hard to trust the pastor who had to side with the master who preaching we should submit while getting murdered and captured. About how we should wait on God is never our vernacular. They get paid and praised by the dollar long as they're keeping us stagnant. And niggas think they woke, huh? Like you could change a whole world through a vote, huh? Like slave masters willing to let their slave go, huh? That slave master was popping your kinfolk, huh? History in reverse, a black king strategy. When blacks were your majesty, they always hide your pyramids but point to where the cash would be. Aristocracies with your last name patented accurately.
Shout out to Kumse, genealogy. What's your last name? Patented accurately.
Melanin show.
Let's go.
Your beautiful glow.
Pull up one more time. Shout out to Dre Cobbs, man.
Yes,
All this good music.
Let the melanin show. Such a beautiful glow.
Let's vibe.
I put my Drake 3000 in your love below. I usually switch them up every season or so. Pretty brown round. I like it when you come around. You know how I get down. We can skip town, take you to exotic beaches. Let the sun hit you and look at your exotic features. My Empress love thing, we go together like yin and yang. Ride or die, we got our own gang. Me and you loving this shit. She knows she my number one pick. She ride stick and don't need a learner's permit. We in our zone when the runs get lit. Cause I know you feeling me. You like how my spirit's free and how we build with the same energy. Drake Cobbs and you know I keep it low key. One hit of this pipe and turn into a dope fiend. It's 10 toes down and you around. You know how we get down. Yeah.
Yes, I can
Be my Mississippi and just flow with me. I give you parts you can only see. I wish the younger me was in tune with the older me. We'll be right where we supposed to be. I just want to embrace you. Whole world trying to trace you. American goddess, your image all over the planet. The definition of organic. Your body is a work of art like tits and eats her. This copper color is nice to meet you. She says she Cherokee, wear a feather in her hair. And I'm right there. It's quite clear. Me and you together with Spark Fest. It's you and ITY in the universe intertwined. Causing eclipse like when the sun and the moon align. Now that's power divine that can light up the whole skyline. You touch your kiss, it gets me every time. Empress, you stay on my mind. You know you one of a kind because when I shine, you shine.
DJ Super Blaze.
Uh-oh.
It's in the mix.
Exclusive. J Cobbs, let's do it.
Shout out to the mama. Yeah, you be quiet when Big Mama speak. What she gave us is a part of me. It flows through my arteries. Even on that journey, that love grows how the garden be. The first to teach us when we sick, the first to heal us. Mama's boy, yeah, you know, her pride and joy. Soul food, yeah, you know, I'm an enjoy. Calm you down just by the sound of her voice. There isn't another feeling inside. When they cheering you on at your game and you feeling the pride. You and your siblings fighting, she gon' make you put them feelings aside. She can't lead you down the road, but she can give you the guide. Where you think I get that blissful look in my eyes? I need a side of ice cream with them mom's apple pie. You know for sure for Mama Chief, you know I'ma ride. Cause we all need our Mama Chiefs. Yeah, we all love our Mama Chiefs. The greatness, the patience, the foundation, the knowledge passed down so many generations, our motivation. I just want to thank you for my...
Shout to Mama Chiefs.
We all love our Mama Chiefs.
Big facts.
Yeah, we all need our Mama Chiefs.
I'm gonna run that back one more time. Drake Cobbs, Mama Chief. Shout out to the Mama Chiefs, man. Make sure y'all.
Shout out to the Mama Chiefs. Yeah, you be quiet when Big Mama speak. What she gave us is a part of me. It flows through my arteries. Even on that journey, that love grows how the garden be. The first to teach us when we sick, first to heal us. Mama's boy, yeah, you know, her pride and joy. Soul food, yeah, you know, I'm an enjoy. Calm you down just by the sound of her voice. There isn't another feeling inside. When they cheering you on at your game and you feeling the pride. You and your siblings fighting. Gonna make you put them feelings aside. She can't lead you down the road, but she can give you the guide. Where you think I get that blissful look in my eyes? I need a side of ice cream with them mom's apple pie. You know for sure for Mama Chief, you know I'ma ride. Cause we all need our Mama Chiefs. Yeah, we all love our Mama Chiefs. The greatness, the patience, the foundation, the knowledge passed down so many generations, our motivation. I just want to thank you for my creation. Cause we all love our Mama Chiefs. Yeah, we all need a mama chiefs. Yeah, we all ride for Mama Chief.
Yes.
Patient. I seen your tears at my graduation. Look, my your boy that made it. You the reason I'm one of the greatest.
Big facts.
Cause we all need a Mama Chiefs.
Big facts.
Yeah, we all love a Mama Chiefs. Yeah, we all ride for Mama Chief.
Always ride for Mama Chief. You know what it is, man? Super Blaze inside the campaign mix, man. We're gonna take it to home team real quick through the campaign. This is Mike Ether. Shout out to the God of Great on the boards. You know what it is. Shout out to Mac. Ether with the Kether. You know what it is, man. Through the campaign. The harsh reality is live life autonomously. You know what I mean?
Sometimes it make your mind dissolve, trying to solve something not meant for you to solve. You got to search for inner peace. Inner peace. Sometimes you got too much involved, trying to solve personal problems you should solve. You got to search for inner peace. Inner peace. Check me out. To free my mind, I leave my house and hit the intercoastal. Sitting right in my backyard, this shit is really local. It's like my problems run away when I sit by the water. Meditating, sitting still, I become the water. Jump off the cliff of life, release my parachute of problems, everything's alright. At least that's what I tell myself until it hit the night. The spirit synchronized with my blood, I'm taking flight. My mind consumed. The devil said he moving in, but I ain't got no room. He wanna break me down and tear me up what I assume. But I just keep on grinding up to my top chakra, feeling like a Buddhist on a mountain, sitting proper, traveling God, moving through the cosmos, space and time. But all I really know, I'm at my zenith, familiar with my inner peace because I seen it. Sometimes it make your mind dissolve, trying to solve something not meant for you to solve. You got to search for inner peace. What? Inner peace. Sometimes you got too much involved, trying to solve personal problems you should solve. You got to search for inner peace. Inner peace. Bonquisha had a baby, but that baby didn't make it. Feeling like she's all alone and can't no one related. She permed her hair, put in some weave and made her nails long. Aspirations of stripping and making millions. Packed it up, left her mom, moved to South Beach, hoping she could make a living off monogamy. But things changed when she met a G. She fell in love with the dream he sold and everything she sees. The big cars, Cuban links, and the real estate. Hoping he would take her to a realer place. She lost in the facade. Things ain't what they seem. He left her for a girl that had some bigger dreams. She got no money, got no job, ain't nowhere to go. She ran back to her mama's house and broke down on the floor. Her mama told her, you stuck in the belly of the beast. You need to search for inner peace. Sometimes you got too much involved, trying to solve something not meant for you to solve. You got to search for inner peace. Inner peace. Sometimes it make your mind dissolve, trying to solve personal problems you should solve. You got to search for inner peace. Inner peace. Hey, Timberlands, Nikes, or the flip-flops. Go ahead and put it up for the hip-hop. Timberlands, Nikes, or the flip-flops. Go ahead and put it up for the hip-hop. I do it, we do it, it's for the hip-hop.
Tap in.
Something similar on this one. Hey. Sometimes you make your mind dissolve, trying to solve something not meant for you to solve. You got to search for inner peace. What? Sometimes you got too much involved, trying to solve personal problems you should solve. You need to search for inner peace.
Let go. Woo! We almost there. Tap in. It's the party. Shout out to the party. Shout out to everybody in the chat. It's your boy Mac 8. Shout out to the party, by the way, the Autonomous Party. All my indigenous Black Americans out there. IBA is the acronym they got out there. You know what I'm saying? We say Este-Lvste. I know the title of the flyer and the promotion and the guests are tied to these terms and certain things, so we did it the correct way to cover the gauge of things. We're going to cover a group of people tied to a lineage of certain things tonight, past to present. You know what I'm talking about? And it's shout out to the doctor that's going to be joining us, tied to, obviously, we in Florida, 954-561 305 stand on up. You heard me? But we in the southern version of what they call Florida, East Florida. You know what I'm talking about? But today it's the state of Florida. We in South Florida. But Florida, you know what I'm talking about? But at the same time, shout out to Dr. Dixon, Dr. Anthony Dixon, from the Florida, author of the Florida Negroes Wars. You know what I'm saying? That's Florida's Negro War. You know what I'm talking about? But we're going to get him on here in a second with our other guest, who's out of Oklahoma, Black Seminole out of Oklahoma, Anthony Conley. And he's going to give us some present things he got going on. We're going to correlate some things. And it's a lot on my mind coming with the conversation. When I thought about, I kind of got excited and shit. So I hope y'all elevate from this experience you're about to have with us tonight as a part. You feel me? It's always a vibe. We just came out the campaign mix. You know what I'm saying? And we live on YouTube. We get into spring. We going into the summer. We're going to be live in the mix on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? You know, so check us. You know, certain things we're going to learn our lessons and stuff like that. Blaze. But at the same time, it's giving my man Super Saiyan, because we in Florida, so it's only right before we go into the show to play a Florida, I guess to say, Negro artist song. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah, we're going to go ahead and play that joint. Shout out my man Super Saiyan. Tap in.
Hey, dumb man niggas can't elevate. 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 Say a little prayer, then I vibe. Roll with that good, then I slide. Elevate all while I meditate. If the vibe wrong, I'ma separate. Do my little dance, I don't hesitate. Whole ass nigga finna talk shit anyway. Got my mind right now, I'm feeling great. He don't know the Lord, so we can relate. Bitch, I'm blessed with this lie in my chest. Got a hating ass nigga stress. When they come to catch your vibes, I'm a vet. When they come to taking flight, I'm the best. You can never blow my high on a vet. Instead of getting on my nerves, get a check. I get higher than a bird, get a nest.
I need a little bit of this right here. Come on now.
Man, niggas can't elevate. Dumb man, niggas can't elevate.
A little bit of right time. I know people running a little late.
Dumb man, niggas can't elevate. Dumb man, niggas can't elevate.
People running a little late. That's all.
Dumb niggas can't elevate. Dumb man, niggas can't elevate. If you live your life, nigga, celebrate. I know it gets tough, but don't ever break. All bad vibes in my life, I eliminate it. Whenever somebody show love, I reciprocate. And that whole shit, don't participate. Do your own thing, gotta innovate. Crab ass niggas in your zone, tell them get always got a fucking attitude, throw that bitch away. Add up, you can get packed up. They stand on your way, so don't add up. It's a real company, that's a fact, bro. Think you trying to show my energy, it's a rap, bro. Keep that fake shit. We ain't got a doubt, bro. Don't speak, you can miss me with that cap, bro. You ain't gotta be mad at me, cause you rap, bro. Social distancing what I need, nigga, back there.
City boy.
Dumb man, niggas can't elevate.
Do it now.
Dumb man, niggas can't elevate.
Do it now.
Dumb man, niggas can't elevate. Dumb man, niggas can't elevate.
Come on.
Dumb man, niggas can't elevate. Dumb man, niggas can't elevate.
I'm good. Yeah, I guess that's the city boy that got a book in his hand. Talking about he reading, but he city boy at the same time. Yeah, we're gonna go right into. We got our guest, our doctor with us. We're waiting for our other guests, but we're gonna get started. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna play these couple clips, tap in. Shout out to Monte Homeboy with the news 3 times a week. You heard me? Just tap in with us. We're gonna get that to you, and then we're gonna pull up Dr. Dixon, and our guest should be with us. Other guests should be with us shortly. So we're gonna get straight to it though. So tap in. Shout out to
Niggas, the top 5 lister, double S drifter, separate sipping, and you know I came with it if she cute with it.
Yeah. I swear I got caught off getting used to that part of the production. Again, homeboy with the news. People mad about Trump. That's something, I'm trying to go straight in. Give it to him real quick, guys.
Al Jazeera. Why are black voters backing Donald Trump in record numbers?
Why?
In CBS News, black voter support for Trump up from 4% to 23%, poll finds. Why did I say all of that? Because I wanted to show you I didn't just open my mouth. I read, I listened, and I've seen a momentum shift, as we all have. Anywhere I appear, no matter my subjectivity relating to what I feel, is still going to be based on facts being presented into the stratosphere. That is who I've always been. It is what I will always continue to be.
They mad about
But
this
it's
out
never
here right now.
exercised with malice in my heart and soul. Certainly never to insult or harm the Black community, my community. My thoughts are put out there to present views.
Perspectives. How you doing? Our guest, our first guest, who's been with us before, Dr. Anthony Dixon. How you doing?
Hey, good evening. How we doing, brother?
I'm doing all right, man. I like that bookshelf behind you, man. You got a lot of things going on behind you, though. I see you.
I try.
You try? You ain't trying. What you talking about? You trying? You being modest. You being modest. But I'm gonna let you have that. You, as a doctor, I could get it. You always try for more. I appreciate you again, man, for coming with us tonight. You see, I sent you a dissertation. You see, I'll be honest, off top, because we've been talking before. I came across a dissertation, and I'm going to show some things tonight based off of what you got with the book. And people need to go get the book to get your full analysis, right? But it's interesting with how people are understanding the whole thing, and you have covered this, what they call Black Seminole thing, more than anybody I've met dealing with the book and everything, and especially with the BlackSeminoleProject.com. Shout out to Zarian Hadley for making this happen, meeting you in the first place. Is there anything you want to shout out or anything before we get into anything tonight? Give you a chance to get off anything you got going on presently or anything you want people to know? Doctor?
Well, we always want people to support the Black Seminole Project itself. Of course, it's a documentary as well as the film based on the book. And like I said, this is I've always said rather, the film will have this underlining theme of unity, right? Because in African diaspora studies, right, there are basically three components: to provide a voice to the voiceless and tell the stories that have been told, tell the perspectives that have been told. Then the second phase or second component is the cultural connections. And we do have those cultural connections where African Americans will and do have cultural connections to Black Seminoles and to these Florida Maroons and to the ancestors of the Florida Maroons. And then the third is using that information, using those cultural connections to actually look at issues that you're facing, that we are rather facing today. And that's what African diaspora studies are about. First telling giving the voice to the voiceless, then making the cultural connections, and then finally using all of that information for solutions to the issues that we're dealing today. Because if we don't use that information to look at and deal with issues that we're dealing with today, then there's really no need to even have that information.
I agree. I think that's a good assessment of past to present. If you're not able to make it assess yourself now, knowing certain things isn't really anything doing to fix anything now. So I think that that's a great analysis what you said. Because of the fact that some people, and I know you've done shows, matter of fact, I came across one of your shows as well outside of your dissertation that you have done. I found something you did a while back with the Newman. You was a guest on Newman Rockman, I think. Is that how?
Yeah, Rock Newman.
Rock Newman, right? All right. So I'm gonna play a clip, and I want you to tell me at that time to now, before we get into certain parts of the dissertation, I want to ask you questions about before our other guest comes on, so people can just get a basics off of our perspective of asking the question from our standpoint, dealing with Maroons, Gullahs, Seminole, Yamasee, and all the different terms tied to Black folk that would be also considered indigenous, that you also know, also labeled Negro Wars and other things you're talking about. Look how long ago this is, though. I mean, from then to now, it's about 8 years or so when you was on the show?
Yes, I think so. What was it, about 2015, 2017, somewhere
I
in
think
there?
it's showing around there. Yeah, let's see. It's saying 5 years ago uploaded, but however, we're gonna play the joint. I think it showed 2016 around that time. So we're gonna play a clip. I want people just to hear just as you actually, you know what I mean? And I want you to tell me what you think about you listening then to now, past to present. Let's play a clip.
It was impactful.
Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you, you wrote this book, Florida's Negro War, Black Seminoles and the Second Seminole War, 1835 to 1842. Give us a little bit about your background, and please tell us how you became interested in publishing this book.
First, even in undergrad, history was my major. Afro-Am studies was my minor. And I had the honor of working under Dr. Larry Rivers, who actually wrote the anthology piece on slavery in Florida. And so when I returned to Florida A&M from my undergrad, after receiving it, I returned for my master's. I became his graduate assistant. And in that, he was always sending me to the library, sending me to the state archives, different places. And so for me, I became interested. My area was slavery and Reconstruction.
Just to clear, Dr. Larry Rivers was president of Fort Valley State?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
The same
Okay.
Dr. He left from Florida A&M and went on to become president of Fort Valley State.
Right.
Now, in that, my studies for and looking at slavery and Reconstruction, I started then kind of narrowing the focus, and I started looking at resistance and resistance to slavery and oppression. And so in doing so, I came across this very unique, outstanding story of African Americans who actually resisted slavery. They resisted their re-enslavement. They resisted the enslavement of their offspring, of their children and their descendants. And they ended up going into a war, partnering with the Seminole Native Americans and going into a war that we now consider the longest and deadliest Native American war fought on U.S. soil. But we are also now looking at it and then examining it as possibly, and what I like to call, the largest slave rebellion on U.S. soil. We talk about
So, Dr. Dixon.
Yes.
That part right there you just heard, you said then, obviously, it's not nothing's changed about the facts of what you just said then, right? The part that I want to ask about what you said in that clip was, for me to ask you personally was, do you think that the people that is calling Seminole, being that the time frame of when a group of people that will be labeled Seminole on a timeline of what you have you researched and put out with the dissertation to obviously the book, do you think that there wasn't Negroes, as they would say, that were already mixing with the indigenous population before that term is being used?
Yeah, the question is whether or not blacks and
Indians,
Native Americans or Indians,
right.
Indians, we'll say Indians, whether or not they were intermingling and had some relationship long before Europeans came along, right?
Well, I would say obviously yes, but you could say yes to that, but more particularly because of the fact that when I look at the timeline of the Seminole Wars and when the Seminoles come about, and I was going to bring up a couple of the like Britannica, Wikipedia, dealing with this term Seminole, and I see it in your dissertation. Before I wanted to get to the dissertation, I wanted to just first ask you about from then to now and what you think about the fact of people being what they call described as Negro being amongst indigenous people prior to the Seminole Nation being, you know what I mean, existed as a group of people?
Yeah, well, that is something that we need to continuously work on in terms of uncovering more and more evidence. But as the evidence that we are finding, it definitely is obvious that there were. And I give you some good examples, right? When you look at Europeans, particularly the Spanish, when you look at their earliest character descriptions, particularly of the Arawaks, right? Some of the first natives or first people, whether you call them Native American, whatever you want to call them, the first natives, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
First natives that they come across, the descriptions include the word swarthy. And when you see the word swarthy, then you automatically know that these are dark-skinned people. So
can you stop right there real quick though?
Yes.
I want to make sure there's a clear understanding what you're saying right now, so people won't get it misconstrued. The indigenous population that you're saying that you have researched are being described as swarthy indigenous people. Is that correct?
Yes, which they were described by the Spanish as swarthy.
Swarthy, right. So, and I'm glad you said that, because in your dissertation, you know, again, man, I read through, I didn't read the whole thing, you know what I'm saying, when I came across it, but I read easily, I'm going to say, a good 50, 60 pages in, you know what I mean? And there's a couple of things I'm going to say through the beginning to page 25 that you put out, just so anybody that, you know, I think could be pointed out, but based off what you just said there, because a lot of people, when it comes to the history, before we even, and obviously that's how I know you really did in your dissertation and in the book, you were really like went back. And that's why I asked you that question first, that if you think that there was dark-skinned people, obviously the indigenous people are being described as swarthy. I correlate swarthy to be dark-skinned or black, as they would say, right? And then, but then there's a distinction of who the Negro, who is also tied to what we call Africa, who's being brought in, you know what I mean? I don't care west, north, or even Europe, right? But I'm saying particularly as they talk about with slave trade situation with Spain, West Africa, which I think you have also mentioned in your dissertation.
Yes.
Can you bring up the definitions before we go into the dissertation real quick though? So everybody can just say, we're not being biased today, before we go into his particular background research. And I think you've done a great job of how you show, again, how you said the Spanish and what the Spanish are saying about who they came in contact with. But just for anybody that is new to the conversation and might want to have a look into this a certain way, and I'm gonna let you tell me what you think about it, Doctor, from these different sources they have here for the definition from your own research. So anybody else can just get a feedback for it. You know what I'm saying? You can slide down, God agreeing, because last week someone thought we were calling on some blasphemous idols or something. But Black Seminoles. It says a group of free blacks. It said free blacks first, Doctor. You notice how it said free blacks in his Britannica first. It didn't say slaves first. It said free blacks. And then it said and runaway slaves. Then in parentheses, it automatically uses this term, maroons. And it says that joined forces with the Seminole Indians in Florida from approximately 1700 through the 1850s. Before I even read anything else before that, I want to ask you, being that this term, and you brought up the term Spanish, came in contact with swarthy indigenous people, but the people that also came over there, that term maroon, if we read down more, is going to show that it's tied to when the Spanish came over here. Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah, okay. Here's where the dynamics, you have to understand the dynamics, right? You also have to, when you're looking at the dynamics, you have to understand it from a regional perspective, right? And when I say understand it from a regional perspective, what that means is when you look at the Caribbean, right, you have those who resisted their enslavement and resisted any types of oppression. And so they were classified as maroons as well. And
Right.
so then when you look into North America, right, you have maroons that are not only just in Florida, but you have maroons that are having these communities in other places.
Brazil,
Got
South
the great,
America, Caribbean,
well, even just in North
Canada.
America, North America, you have the Florida Maroons, you have the Maroons in the Great Dismal Swamp.
Right.
So,
Carolinas, right. Georgia, Virginia, Appalachia, Alabama, Louisiana,
So the
Mississippi.
issue then becomes, right, the ideas of whether or not, and this again also goes back to what I was talking about, African diaspora studies, right? What are those cultural connections that we find between them, right? What are the cultural connections that these people have, even though they are living in separate time frames and in separate regions? And when you look at those different groups of people, you still can find, right? You still can find cultural connections. Now, let's talk about the very first inklings of maroons in North America. The first inklings of maroons in North America come actually with the very first settlement, Gueldape. And now this is key. You got to understand this one, brother, because this opens up and it lays the foundation for what you were saying a few minutes ago. When the Wale or Guale, when they attacked Gueldape, right? When they attacked the very first Spanish settlement in North America, at the same time, the enslaved, whatever we want to call them, enslaved Negroes, started setting fires on the inside of the settlement. So now you have to ask yourself, how did they know to start setting fires?
Yeah.
So that in itself opens that first door to open lines of either communication, or we're talking about people, right, who were already intermingling and were taken to Gueldape. So either way,
Term. Can you say that again, sir?
Either
Doctor,
way,
can you say that one more time though? Guarape? You say Guarape? Is that what
Gueldape?
the G? Is that GAUP?
GUA.
Like the treaty?
Yeah, GUA, DAL. What is Gueldape? DALPA. Gueldape.
Yeah, I think we're talking about the same thing. You know, I mess up these terms, all of them they got over the. I mean, there's a treaty tied to that, so that's why I'm just for people that want Guarape and Hidalgo of 1848, and I was gonna come in later on, but I'm trying to get you based off of things, but I'm gonna show this. I want to get people this as you're talking, and you can keep talking. So keep going. We're gonna pull up another source real quick from Black Seminole, just while before we get to the dissertation. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Doctor.
No problem. So what we're talking about, right, is what opens the door to the need of a much further examination of whether or not the Negroes simply came from Africa long before Europeans, or whether or not they are indeed indigenous to this land as well.
Right.
And so that's why I say we have begun.
You have, okay.
And the people have begun. I mean, if you look around there,
I see it. I see it. There's a lot of debates about it now,
there are
Doctor.
basic
That's why
studies, but
I
see,
asked you that question first.
That's the thing about it, right? If we are going to make this full assertiveness, right, or assert this full theory, and have it bolstered, where not only general public, but the academy, the academic, and everyone else has no choice but to accept, we have to get all the ducks in the row first. That's why when we did have our initial conversations, and I've had conversations with other people, Sekou and others.
Sekou. Right. I put you on the phone with Sekou and Yamasi. Shout out to Yamasi, right?
And what I've said to him and what I've said to you was, until we have all of those ducks in a row and that definitive proof, we should not just continue to assert parts. Because if you continue just to assert parts, then they will attack and counter each part. So by the time you do put it together, they'll say, oh, there are all these holes in your theory.
I got you. And Doctor, I'm glad you said it like that, though.
If we stick to it and we just acknowledge that there's the possibility, but continue to do the work, then we come with that full, definitive, not just study, but full conversation.
Right.
Where they can't poke holes on it. And I'm going to give you a good example of that, right? It was years before Checker Anta Joke challenged European with the Melendosnitz, right? Because he knew if he just started giving them the things that he had uncovered through his studies, then they would start attacking each piece. But he waited until he had all of it together in a firm, undeniable state. And so when he presented it, they could not counter any part of it. And it's the same way with Dr. Ben.
Right.
Dr. Ben analyzed Christianity to the fullest extent, so that even when it wasn't just Orthodox Christians, it was WASP and even Jewish scholars, they could not counter what he was saying, because he would be able to match them with older dates. And he would be able to match them with other written documents that were older than what they were relying on.
Gotcha.
So you see, he put it all together first.
Right.
Before he began to put those books out there. And but once those books got out there, it was definitive. And so that's why I say, you know, when I get into the different talks and we get into those discussions, I only take it so far, and I'll say, yeah, there is that strong possibility, or yes, that's something we can consider. Because what we do not want to do is give them the ability to just keep poking holes. And there are other things, right? And we have to take it. See, and that's the thing. It takes a collective research, right? It takes a collective anthropological, archaeology, as well as history. All of those have to come with that proof, and then we put all of it together in this definitive, you know. And this is what's going on right now with Egyptian history, right? We're having now science. Science has now come aboard. About what, 10? No, I guess, getting old. About 15, somewhere 15, 20 years ago, archaeologists, right, and erosion specialists got into the discussion because they looked at the erosion of the pyramids and they looked at the erosion of the Sphinx and said, well, according to this, we're about 15,000 years off, you see? And so we have to look at doing this the same way.
But Dr. Dixon, can I say something to you real quick?
Yes,
though?
sir. Go ahead, by all means.
And I know, I'm glad you cleared that up, though, because I want you to get all that right for people that want to get into the old world, new world, the people that were black originally came out of America, or people that think that obviously all people, humanity came out of Africa. I'm not even really for what you have covered in even dealing with the heritage of people that were subscribed to being Maroons, Gullah, I would say culturally is Este-Lvste Yacht Seminole, which some people like to say popularity-wise, Black Seminole. That the culture is definitely based off everything you just said that we can assess and doing an understanding, a calculation where they can't poke holes at, based off of language, culture, placing, as you said earlier, Spain, documentation of who they came in contact with, and you mentioned they used the term swarthy. So now what I said earlier was obviously the swarthy indigenous people or aborigines of this land that would be considered dark-skinned people, because the word swarthy, I will correlate to that, are not still the same as the dark-skinned people who are coming out of West Africa or North Africa or Europe in the 15th century when Spain is coming into these lands we call America, describing the indigenous people swarthy. We're on the same page about that, right? Before I go into my next part.
Say it one more time. I want to make sure we clear.
As you said before, Spain came here and said that the people here that they came in contact, you used the term swarthy. And we're on the same page about swarthy, meaning dark-skinned, complected people. Not saying that they're the same stock of the people that they're talking about that they brought out of West Africa to the Americas. Just because they're both dark-skinned people, that don't mean that they come from the same situation. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
All right. With that being said, is why I'm glad you said that, because even though in Spain they say they're using the term swarthy, but this term that's highlighted in the purple on the screen right now, and I let everybody get a chance to read it because obviously we ain't gonna read all this stuff tonight. It says in the 19th century, the Black Seminoles were called Seminole Negroes. That's where I guess Negro, Black Seminole, and then it says by their white American enemies, and Este-Lvste, and it says obviously Black people, another description, by their Native American allies. Being that swarthy folk that were here already, that were dark skinned, and the people who were escaping some kind of captivity situation tied to Spain, being that you mentioned it was Spain that made the documentation. And obviously, when people talk about in the 15th century slave trade and everything, the first people that would obviously have some people working in that kind of position would be Spain or Portuguese, because I think they get left out a lot. I would definitely say Portuguese, but those two groups, they're the one. Portuguese, like we said a couple weeks ago on the show, went into West Africa from 1411. So there's a trade system going on. These two groups already know the difference between the swarthy people they're coming in contact with in the Americas, or people like to say West Indies, whatever, terms, but and the people that's obviously in West Africa at that time, that the Europeans, which would be Spain and Portugal, are coming in contact with. Do you agree to disagree with what I just said with that part? You can
Yeah,
keep it moving with the slide.
I agree. I agree with that.
All right. I want to make sure we're on the same page as we walk down this. And if you disagree with any time, you know how it is. No, just no personal, right? I just want you to get it. We just want people to get it right.
Yeah.
Can you move on to the next joint, God? With that, so that's why I just throw that out there. Negro de Terra, Negro de Guinea, and that's a differential situation dealing with Spain and Portugal using these terms. Yeah, so English, like you say, English, we're really using Swarthy, but the word Negro or Negra, and this term Este-Lvste. See, because this word Este-Lvste, and I want you to know, a doctor that we did this research, I want to share this with you. This word Lvste is tied to the Portuguese. The Portuguese, we know for facts, came to Brazil, where also the term Negro de Terra is also associated with. Portugal went to Brazil. The Treaty of Tordesillas of 1494 shows that demarcation of who got divided the land and what they thought of the New World.
Right.
So we know that Portugal was in Brazil. Negro de Terra is associated with that landmass, that region, underneath their jurisdiction. Now, another term that's connected to that landmass, like how we popularly, most people, I'm saying it for the record, New Spain, because everybody hears about New Spain, South America, Central America, their jurisdiction, right? But most people don't hear about the term New Lusitania. And this term New Lusitania is tied to that area called Brazil, Portuguese territory. And that term Lvste, when we've done and went back and etymology traced it to keep it honest about what we found, it's tied to a description of dark-skinned people, and the description that word Este-Lvste, it says black, Lvste, tied to certain things. Did he black out? Dr. Dixon? Damn. All right, we're gonna jigsaw. I'm live. I don't know what to do. Hopefully he come right back. We're gonna leave that there. We got to that part though. Hopefully we can get Anthony Dixon back. I mean, we live. So this word Este-Lvste is tied to Portugal, by the way, y'all, and New Lusitania. It's like how they talk about New Spain, you got New Lusitania. And that's where this word Este-Lvste and their verbiage of jurisdiction over here in America is used, and how they describe people over here. As Este-Lvste, it's the Este-Lvste Wars. Tuscaloosa. We're going to get into that, but we'll try to wait for Dr. Dixon to come back. But our other guest is in the back, I guess, right? Let's pull him up. Because we were supposed to go with him first so we can get to the present situations. And hopefully, again, Doctor come back with us. How you doing, Anthony?
I'm doing pretty good.
I appreciate you pulling up on us tonight, man. Thank you for joining us.
Well, I got on there late. We have tornadoes and have a problem with my internet.
Oh, wow. Tornadoes?
Yeah, tornadoes.
Okay, I ain't got no problems. You out there in Oklahoma, though, right? Right now, currently?
Yes.
It's that season? Is that something y'all used to?
Yes,
Okay. So you kind of get, like down here in Florida, we used to hurricanes. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Y'all used to tornadoes, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And one of our oldest traditional members of the Black Seminoles / Freedmen's is my uncle. He turned 100 in October, and it took his house out Thursday night.
Wow, sorry to hear that, man. Anthony, man, when I talked to you just the other day, shout out to Zarian Hatley, the Black Seminole Project.com, and obviously you're working with them in your story. There's some things currently you have going on. But first I want you to tell people a little bit about yourself, Black Seminole, out of your heritage being tied to, and what you got currently going on, with the Black Seminole situation in Oklahoma. And I said, thank you for Dr. Dixon for coming back. I don't know what happened, but matter of fact, before you come, Dr. Dixon, you hear me? Are you there?
Yeah, something happened. I couldn't hear you for a minute there, so that's why I went out and came back.
I was wondering what was going on because the screen went black. I'm like, damn, as soon as I said Este-Lvste, it went black, like for real though. I don't know if that's a coincidence. I don't know if that's a coincidence being that Este-Lvste is tied to black people. The whole screen went black. I was like, okay then. No, but in this situation though, Dr. Dixon, I'm gonna ask him a couple questions before we get right back to you. Because I'm glad you kind of walk with this. Kind of, I guess it happens the way it happened. We live. So there it is again. See, no, that's your screen. Okay, your screen. Maybe it was just something you blacked out. You might have pressed something, Dr. Dixon. So maybe I don't know, just to make sure. Anthony, though, are you there? Can you tell people
Yes,
a little bit about your background and your ties to Oklahoma and your people, for people that might want to know, since you're sharing it with everybody? Please, sir.
Yes, I'm a representative for the Caesar Bruner Band, which I'm a fourth generation. And my ancestors and them came from Florida here to Oklahoma, where they was traditionally, known as Black Seminoles. And when we got here to Oklahoma, we became Seminole freedmen. So I have been sitting on that council for going on 14 years now.
And you're literally directly tied to the Caesar Bruner situation that maybe some people might not know about Caesar Bruner. Maybe everybody don't know about that. So I'm gonna show something real quick, and you can tell me what you think from obviously being tied to what they got out here about Caesar Bruner, Seminole chief born. You think this is an accurate picture? Because I never got to ask nobody particularly that it's directly related to him. All right,
Yes,
cool. Want to make sure. All right, so as it's showing the picture, slide down, guys. Let's get to the meat of it. Can you make it a little bit bigger for everybody out there? Because this is tied to your ancestor, that obviously Caesar Bruner. That's a hard name, by the way. So the birth of Caesar Bruner is celebrated on this date in 1813. He was a Black Seminole chief and interpreter, born in Indian Territory as a free man. And they say he was born as a slave, by the way. He was the son of William and Effie Bruner, both former slaves, interesting it says that, of Tom Bruner, who had manumitted them. He was born shortly after the arrival of Seminoles from Florida and would live his entire life as a freedman. In the federal census of 1900s, the birthplace of his parents is said to have been Alabama. His wife, Nancy, was born in the territory like her father, but her mother was also listed as having been born in Alabama. Bruner and his community migrated to the Oklahoma Territory as a result of the Indian Removal Act of 1830. I'm going to stop right there. Do you agree with that right there, based off your heritage situation timeline for everybody out
Yes,
there?
yes, that is very true.
Okay. I want to make sure that, you being an ancestor, that's your ancestry, your heritage, your people migrated from Alabama, which also, we call it Alabama, Chief Tuscaloosa, Alabama. But Alabama, before it was called Alabama, it was also called Florida. You agree with that, right? Understanding of heritage tied to Black folk, Este-Lvste, and these territories. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. Dr. Dixon, you agree with that too, right? Because the Tuscaloosa part is going to come up. Black Warrior. Dr. Dixon, you have anything to say about that Tuscaloosa part before I, go anywhere with that? Are you familiar with what I'm saying? Can you hear me, Dr. Dixon? Mic check. Dr. Dixon, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Anthony? Maybe he's blocked out right now.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes,
I know he's not hearing nothing. He must not be hearing what we talking about right now. Dr. Dixon. Let me text him. Maybe that'll get through because he don't know his mic not working. Dr. Dixon, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. I'm talking to you. Can you hear us now? You got your mic open, Dr. Dixon. Okay, well, I'm going. We're going to work it out. So, Anthony, based off your heritage tied to this right here, by the time of Dawes' commission, and since he was the elder leader, having arisen since the death of Abraham as the spokesperson for the freedmen, when some of the Seminoles left for Mexico to escape persecution, he was still a young boy, and his immediate family would not be a part of that migration. However, after the return of some black Seminoles to Texas in 1870s, a Bruno family was listed in the Black Seminole Texas settlement that might have had connection to the Bruner family of Indian Territory. So all this situation of your family tied to the Bruner and you being a representative, can you give people an update right now currently based on what I'm reading and where you are now, being that your family has been in Oklahoma for since the time frame as it's showing here, I guess, 1830?
Yes, because Caesar Bruner when he came here to Oklahoma, he started a cattle ranch. He had a whole bunch of cattle. And one of the largest cattle farms. And he helped feed the Native Americans and everything, which he sat on the council that I sat on now until he was 110 years old. Yeah, so he founded that band. So the Seminole Nation here in Oklahoma has a 14 band system, and one of them is named after him, the Caesar Bruner Band.
What is your family in your own oral and things you preserved underneath the Bruner Band? Have you guys ever, do y'all make a distinction as if you guys are separate from being a part of the Seminole, even though you're being labeled Seminole freedmen?
We consider ourselves being equal to them, but they consider us as still being their slaves. We don't get the benefits. We get a card, and here recently after the COVID shot, and since they denied giving it to us, the government made them give us government, health service through IHS. But that's the only thing we get besides a vote. Now we get to vote in their council meetings because we sit on their boards. We get to vote for economic things and things that we don't have no knowledge of getting. All we can do is vote. That's what we fight for, is to get all our rights, our benefits, because they have like programs like housing, social services to help, their people with electric bills and, assistant housing, funeral services. We don't get none of that, even though that the government provides them money for us. When it gets to the tribe, it goes to that council, which we only have 4 votes out of 28. So they vote us out of everything because they say they go on there and they vote by blood only.
Yeah, I remember you saying something about the fact that like you have certain things like you can vote and how you just break down how they still obviously marginalize how your vote actually counts within their system of doing things and underneath their law they've set up as a nation. We call this, the Seminoles out of Oklahoma, for instance, and obviously being in a position as a freedman. And I think you said something that there was a difference between being a tribal member and being a citizen, and that a freedman is in basically a position of being like a citizen and not technically a tribal member. Is that correct?
That is correct. We are on our cards. They give us a card and it has Seminole freedmen's citizens. And then on their card, it has tribal members. And then like the programs, how they keep us from getting into them is that we don't have a membership card because they said that we're not members. We're not a tribal member. We are just citizens.
So, I'm in right now, because this is why we got you on tonight as a guest. I want to get straight to that part. Because how, I know you were running late, and I thank you for joining us. I appreciate Dr. Dixon being patient while I ask you these questions to make sure that people catch this part right now. because we're in the midst of it, because we're going to get back to the history, and I want you to stay around for that part too. But I want people to catch this part because it's important. We were supposed to start off with you, and I knew you was running late. In the context of your family situation in Oklahoma, dealing with the Caesar Bruner band, and they have you in a freedman position. You're dealing with a court case currently. Is that correct?
Right. We have
Would
won.
you mind? Go ahead.
We won a court case in 2000 when they tried to kick us out.
Right.
And the government told them that they had to bring us back and put us on the council, which they, I was talking about the council members, and make us members. So they have failed to uphold a government or a court order, but they brought us back, put us on the council, but they don't give us none of the benefits and they don't make us members. We're still just citizens to them. As we battling right now to get cards for, government cards where they can get passports and all that with the tribe. Now they say that we can't get the card because it says for urban and Indians. Okay. Now,
hold on, say that one more time again. I remember last time you said this to me. So there's two different classifications that they have. I want people to hear that. What is the two terms that they consider underneath their membership? You said, say it again, please.
Okay, up under their membership, they get a tribal membership card, and then they get a CDIB card, which means the blood quantum that they have.
Right.
Okay. They don't give us a membership card. We just get a citizenship card. So without a membership card, we don't get a membership number. So even before they gave us health, other states was giving them people medical. We went to the Cherokees and they was giving us medical before they gave it to us. And the tribe called them and told them, stop giving them medical because all they get is a vote. And that's what it says on the back of my card.
And it's almost like interesting that, I mean, in the situation that you're going to court for is obviously to get out of being a citizen and be treated as a member based off your heritage tied to the band that you're connected to. Am I correct about that?
That is correct.
All right. So, and are they denying that the Caesar Bruner family that your heritage is connected to blood-wise isn't who they are? Or is it that they're treating you based off of the fact that in this document that the Caesar Bruner family were already considered freedmen in this position of this documentation here? Being that they left and went to Oklahoma with the Removal Act. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see what I'm asking? No, I want to make sure I say it right. You heard what I said, right? Let me say it one more time. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I apologize. Go ahead.
It is funny because see, Caesar Bruner had 5 wives. He had 3 native wives and 2 that was Gullas. Okay. Now, the kids from the native women became tribal members, but they called blood because they went by the clan law. The clan law is you is what your mother is. So at the same time,
matriarchal, right? Matrilineal, right?
So, and it goes back to like my grandmother, which had 18 kids, but like 4 or 5 of them married native people, and then their kids went on the tribal road. Which, even though I'm kin to a lot of the native people that sat on that council, because we go back to the same grandmother. But since my mother, and wasn't native, so that puts us back onto what they call
the freedman side. So based off the fact that the person that they are counting on to be a part of the membership side is based off the matrilineal connection through what they call the CBDI blood situation, and because of the fact that they can't say that your mother is a native, then they won't count it, even though your grandmother would be considered a native?
Native, yeah.
So your grandma could be a native, but your mama ain't a native, so that makes you not a native, basically. Right? All right, make sure. I want to make sure I said it right for everybody out there based off your situation that you're going through. I want to make sure I won't say it wrong. Please correct me.
So when you get to the bottom line of it, probably 40 to 50% of your Black Seminoles / Freedmen's here are related to 90% of the natives. But when it comes to them calling that tribal members and members, that's where, and citizens, that's where we get blocked down.
I want to play a clip for you and tell me if it's something that you think is correlating to what you're going through right now. And if you're getting the attention, because you're on us right now, we want people to pay attention. And obviously, I know you're fighting to get this situation changed based off of what I just call bullshit, because your people were on the paperwork prior to the Treaty of 1866. You see what I'm saying? The Bruner family moved, which means based off of how that works, when I read it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, right? Because your family was the one that relocated. I'm in Florida. They consider me a maroon. You know what I'm talking about? Because we didn't go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But in that situation, if the folks that went, that was underneath that freedman situation, and those treaties done with the freedmen, going with the Freedmen's Bureau and all that time frame, they allocated that the people who went with them were opposed, obviously, with their mixtures, non-mixtures. Everybody in the jurisdiction is supposed to be treated in the same manner based off of the treaty. And just recently, and this is what makes it very interesting for me. And Dr. Dixon, are you there? I don't want to leave you out the whole conversation. Can I hear you? You there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I hear you now. You're there. All right. Is there anything you want to say about what you heard so far? Have you been hearing this conversation?
You know,
pull up the clip though. Go ahead, Ruben. Say what you think about this.
All right, here I think this is what we're trying to see is indicative to what has been going on for a few years now, right? That when you look at what the larger white culture has done in terms of placing such a negative connotation on being black and everything being with black, that it has actually termed everyone. So everyone has this negative connotation for black people. So anything that you do to black people is going to be accepted now because there's such a negative connotation. So all of these ideals, and Brother Conley and I have discussed that, you know, the only good thing that I'm seeing that is coming out of it is the younger generations, right? The younger generations of Native Americans, Seminole Indians, let's just say that then, where we know everybody's on the same page and understanding, are not accepting those ideals. And what I'm learning from Brother Conley and from other Black Seminoles is that the quote unquote $5 Indians are the ones who have been able to infiltrate these negative connotations and divide the blacks from the reds, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm going to,
like I said, the only thing we are getting is that the younger generation are not accepting that, because the younger generation are looking at the history and they're understanding and deciphering the history for themselves. Now, the problem is, right, that the younger generation right now don't have the power to change anything. You know, they have to come into power first. And so we can only hope that in their process of coming into power, that they don't accept those ideas, that they hold on to these ideas and the understanding that they have now. And so this is all part of what we want to do with the Black Seminole Project, right? Like I said, if we don't take this information and use it for their issues today, then there's no need to even do it, right? And so what we want to do is ensure that the understanding, right, that they have with how it actually began, right? Because the thing about it is the Seminoles themselves are a homogeneous group, right?
Say that again.
They're a homogeneous group, meaning they were different.
Various.
Right. They were different different
Groups.
tribes that came together to
It's our
create
alliance.
Seminoles. And
Right,
then
so-
primarily still based, and you can look it up historically, it was still based primarily in Creek because Creek was the majority of them.
Okay, now, sir, please, sir, can you stop there, please, sir? Please. Don't go too far. Don't go far too, doctor. Let me stop you, please. Don't go too far. This is why I wanted you to get to that Creek part, right? Because the term Creek, as you brought up Creek, we like to say Muskogee. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Or Muskogee, Muskogee, different variations, but Muskogee, because we know, even though the term Yacht Seminole, and Anthony, when I spoke to you the other day, you agree, even though in the definitions that they are saying this term Seminole is denoting or connotatively saying, but Yacht Seminole, you know it to be free people. Is that correct, Anthony? Yacht
Yes,
Seminole? Yacht Seminole
Yes,
means free people.
Yeah.
We on the same page? All right.
Yeah.
So, and then this word Este-Lvste, we know it to mean indigenously the dark-skinned folk of the region, tied with the living amongst the, mixing with the indigenous people of the region. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this word Muskogee, this word Este-Lvste is tied to say, and I found it in the Choctaw. We found it in the Chickasaw, obviously the Seminole, but obviously, as Dr. Dixon just said, the Creek and the Muskogee, who have a treaty in 1790. But this judge dealing with the Muskogee, which means that the Seminole, as would be tied to the Creek, as Dr. Dixon just said. So if the Creek are the Muskogee, and the Seminole are mainly Muskogee that separated from tied to the Creek Civil War or the Muskogee Civil War, if the judge sided with the freedmen situation in the Muskogee situation, why would they not side with the Seminole situation the same way? Can you play this clip for everybody, please? Check this out.
In the past hour, we have learned that a Muskogee Nation District Court judge has sided with two freedmen descendants seeking tribal citizenship. This ruling reverses a decision by the Muskogee Nation Citizenship Board that denied their application back in 2019. Now, we have been covering this case since it began. It all centers around Rhonda Grayson and Jeff Kennedy. They're both Creek freedmen descendants who say the Creek Treaty of 1866 grants them citizenship in the tribe. This spring, we were in the courtroom when witnesses from the Muskogee Creek Nation Board testified that while reviewing citizenship applications, they view the Muskogee Creek Nation Constitution as the final law, which only allows citizenship by blood. Attorneys for the plaintiffs say the treaty supersedes the Constitution where there is conflicting information, and their case should win. Tonight, the judge has ruled with those descendants. The Attorney General for the Muskogee Creek Nation says tonight.
You see this? You see, Anthony, it says citizenship. Did you catch that? Now, you said that I played this clip for a reason. These people said blood descended by citizenship. But you're, with us live tonight, just told us that there's a difference between being a citizen and a tribal member. So if the judge sided with the Muskogee people who were descendants to be freedmen and be a citizen, proving it through blood, isn't that just saying that they're being proven to be in a subjective situation, being that they won't get the benefits that you're sitting here live going after? Am I wrong?
No, you're right. But the Seminole Nation here saying that they have a different treaty than everybody, which that is false, but that's what they tell us.
Right.
See, and then like the Cherokees, they won it off the 1866 treaty. The Creeks won their verdict from the 1866 treaty. The Seminoles treaty, Article 2, the last paragraph says no matter which race, color, or creed, everyone is treated equal and shall have all benefits as an Indian of a said tribe that's been adopted or as a citizen. But they do not accept that because.
Can you say that one more time, sir? You said it like you know it by heart. Can you say
yes,
that
I
one more
do.
time for the folks out there? What articles? I think that articles in all of the five, all of them of 1866. But can you
Right.
say it again for those that might not know?
You can Google it. It's the 1866 Treaty of the Seminole Nation, Article 2, the last paragraph. It says, no matter what race, color, or creed, everyone is treated equal and shall have all benefits, equal rights as a native, as he's been a adopted or a citizen of that said tribe.
I read it myself.
Yeah.
And I'm perplexed.
Right.
I mean,
But
I'm
then-
not perplexed. I mean, at this point, I get it now. You know, we clearly see what's happening. But you coming live with us is just a testimony to the fact that you're fighting for it. If people can go research Caesar Bruner, like we pulled him up, how your family was obviously tied to the, and this is where Dr. Dixon comes in. Dr. Dixon, are you there with us?
Yes, I'm still here.
All right. Caesar Bruner. Have you done some research on Caesar Bruner, sir? Yourself in this before you met Anthony?
Yes, some, but not extensive. And that is because I concentrated on the up to the Second Seminole War. And Caesar Bruner is primarily after that period. So I wouldn't dare claim to be an expert in the periods after.
No, I respect that. I mean, reason why I asked is because it said the Indian removal, which is 1830s, right? And the Second Seminole War is what time frame did you cover it with the book? It's like right before it, right?
Right, it's 1835 to 1842.
Right. Say it again, please, sir.
1835 to 1842.
I appreciate that. So everybody get a timeline just because they didn't catch it. So hold up though. So that would be the same time frame that Caesar Bruner family was removed and went to Oklahoma, right? Based off that kind of Anthony, would that not be the same time frame that your family left and went to Oklahoma during the time frame of the Second Seminole War?
Yes,
Reason why I'm saying that is because I know Dr. Dixon, you covered the Second Seminole War, but you also mentioned in your dissertation, which I'm going to get to in a second, but Anthony came in late, so it threw me off. So I apologize. But at the same time, there was three Seminole Wars because you covered it in your dissertation. You covered from the Fort Mose on your dissertation all the way to 1858 at least. I read it. You know what I mean?
I covered it. I just didn't go into the Third Seminole War in depth, nor did I really get into what happens once they get to Oklahoma. Just the initial general things, such as those initial internal conflicts that ultimately led John Horse to leave Oklahoma, and how those internal conflicts did kind of start in Florida and then go out. And so we all, like I said, we have to look and take it at the beginning and come forward, right? In order to understand how we got to this point, right? And so when we first start looking at the inklings of the negative relationship and how it got to this point, right? There was there was some negative things with Abraham, which Abraham ended up getting, kind of a bad reputation once he got out to Oklahoma.
I got him on here, yeah.
But here in Florida, and what all of the documentation we have, there's no way they would have been able to secure their freedom had it not been for the negotiations that Abraham did. And so now let's call it like it TI is, right? When you negotiate, right, it still involves some give and take when you negotiate. But the thing about it is, Abraham was smart enough that he was able to leverage the guerrilla warfare and all of the fighting that Osceola and John Horse was doing. And himself, he was involved in the fighting himself. But John Horse and Osceola were the ones that they were truly after out in the field, right?
Right.
And
right.
so he was able to leverage that and secure the freedom. And so what we find then is that the Indian counterparts did not fully accept the fact that for blacks, freedom was the top priority, even though Abraham and other black Seminole leaders clearly expressed that. They clearly expressed that we are going to, yes, we would like to stay here. We want to fight with you to stay here. However, freedom is the top priority.
Damn right.
And
Liberation.
so even some black Seminoles, who were, particularly those who had strong heritage with the Indian counterparts, saw Abraham as somehow, being a traitor and this, that, and the other. But when you just focus on the situation in Florida, right? What we understand now is that Abraham clearly was one who understood exactly what the black component was up against. You see, because
how we were being treated different. We were
delineated.
It was a delineation.
No matter what, see, that's the thing about it. And I think that we have to make sure that this is clear. So we got to make sure that this is clear.
Mm-hmm.
Plantation society, the U.S. government, and the military in Florida, right? They initially did not care whether or not that black person was in a clan or not.
They didn't care.
They did not care. What they cared about was returning blacks to enslavement. They didn't care if that person was a mixed breed, quote unquote, mixed breed or not. It's the same as within plantation society, right? You have a master who has a child with the enslaved. Did they care that child had white heritage? No. All they cared about was the fact that you had a black parent, you had a black grandparent, whatever, which means you ultimately should be enslaved.
Well, it's cruel reality. I ain't escaping what you said governmentally, as you said. That's why, it's called a Negro War, right? They didn't call it a Native War, because
And so,
I mean,
and that's what I'm saying.
They call it the Negro
when you
War.
break that concept down, right? When you get that clear understanding, right? Everything after that is about negotiations. So we even have it clearly in the records where Seminole natives are claiming their children, in some cases, as their slave. Because that's the only thing that plantation society, let's just call it like it is, that's the only thing that whites will
Reality of
accept.
it. Yes, right. The United
And that's
States of
the only
America system.
negotiation tactic. So Abraham did have to use those lines, just like Native Americans had to, the Indian counterparts had to use those lines. The problem is when they get out to Oklahoma, they get influence to start using those same lines in the same vernacular that white people started using them.
I want to bring up something real quick before we, because I don't want to. I want to get to your dissertation and how everything happened, but I want to ask you some questions from it. And Anthony, I appreciate you tapping in with us too. As you're bringing attention, Anthony, as we bring up the document, can you just tell the folk how they can support? What are you trying to do right now about your current situation, and how can people maybe support and reach out to give you support and what you got going on? I know BlackSeminoleProject.com. If anybody wants to get it there, I know Zarian said he just put something there for you to collect and help, or whatever the case might be, what you guys got going on with your family and the band. But anybody that wants to support your initiative of changing the situation that you're currently, and others, all of it, because it affects all of us. It's like that court case I played with the Muskogee and them people. All these things are helping the whole. So is there anything you want to say about that before we pull up the dissertation part?
Yeah. See, that's the main issue that we have. Just like the Cherokee freedmans, they had to go through the same thing, which their treaty rights said everything in there, but the only way that they could win their case was getting an attorney and going to Washington D.C. The Creeks did the same thing. They had to get an attorney. Now we're faced here in Seminole with a lot less of freedmans to participate. We have only 2,500 enrolled, and that's counting kids and everything. And
In
then when you
Oklahoma
talk
right
about
now, currently, you said? So right now in
currently,
Oklahoma, you got 2,500 people that's enrolled in the Seminole Freedmen roles, technically?
yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
that's what they tell us. Because when we go up there to enroll, or we have a freedman that wants to enroll and get his card, then this is what happens. They go up there. You have to have birth certificates, death certificates, a patent deed, leading all the way back to somebody on the DOS roll, which they call the final roll, which we probably have more people than that, but they give you such a hard time enrolling that a lot of them just don't mess with it. But for us to raise money, for us to get an attorney to go to court like the Creeks and the Cherokees without having a great big number like they do, 5,000, 5,800, or more freedmans that was donating and contributing, we're having problems raising money to get an attorney to take them to court just like the Creeks and the Cherokees did. But even the current chief of the Seminole Nation even said, if y'all take us to court, y'all win. But that's been our issue from day one, since I started sitting on this council and before, the people before me. And they use that power to downgrade us, even though they know it's that we should have it and we're supposed to have it. They know that we cannot beat them at that because they even fought in AG, which was with the tribe. Told them once when they gave away some economic monies, says if you don't include the freedmans, they can take y'all to court and y'all would lose. But they sat there and said right on council, well, we've been taking our chances, so we just take our chance. And that's where we have an issue. not being able to go back to court.
And again, it costs money for a lawyer and everything like that. I know you guys, obviously, as a band, or you're recognized as a band, so you have an organization, nonprofit situation where people can donate to your initiative to help
Yeah.
your band do what you need to do with the
Yes,
law,
ma'am.
partful. Or
Yes,
can you put that out there? Do you mind sharing? Where people can, and we'll try to put it in chat. We put it in the chat if you don't mind. Can you give us
Okay.
the name of the website or wherever people can go to support you?
Okay, yeah, because it's set up on a GoFundMe, but then it goes into a nonprofit organization
Okay.
because we had problems raising up money to get the 503. So we had a member that has um, a nonprofit organization. So we set it up on a GoFundMe, and it goes into that nonprofit deal where when you do donate, then we will send everybody a receipt so they can write it off, whatever. And that's what we've been out there on. So
Okay.
we've been doing this now for about 6 or 7 years, and we have raised probably approximately right at $10,000. But that is clearly not enough to get an attorney. The
Right.
Creek's attorney that they use, Mr. Simmons, that we had talked to him, and see, they paid him, exposure of like 60,000 down and like $10,000 a month. We could never
How
possibly,
much?
huh?
Hold on. Say that. You just say they gave the Creek, who we just played that video
Yeah,
of, that represented them. They
yeah.
paid that lawyer $60,000 down and $10,000 a month. Is that what you just said?
Well, I'm estimating that's what he told us when we talked to him about, representing us.
Oh, you know what? See, it's so much. Either way, can you give everybody the website real quick, sir, please? So everybody can get that, because they need to support you, because you're gonna need some money. Anybody that can support you, I want to help you
Well, see,
ASAP. So you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, there. I'm sorry, doctor. Go ahead.
no, I was saying that's also, the practical part of what we're trying to get done with the Black Seminole Project, right?
Right.
That the economic part of it is to use those things to help them address their primary issue for each region, right? Each region has a primary issue that they're dealing with. And so what we want to do is bring them all to the table, because each producer, like Brother Conley here, is a producer for the Black Seminole Project.
Right.
And he's a part of the production. He is also part of that committee. Now that committee is not only dealing with the documentary and dealing with what is actually said and what is actually told, because we're letting them tell and provide their own voice, right? But also there is that committee for action, right? So that proceeds from the documentary and things that are garnered from the documentary goes to that committee. And that committee gets to decide their portion of the money and what is best they need to do with that money. What is the primary thing that they can work on? They need to work on, right? And so, as you clearly hear, this is their primary issue. So, while they are also raising money to do what they have to do, this documentary is going to do its part as well.
Right. I'm glad you brought that up, and that's why we have y'all both on, because I don't think that part. And you know, you and Zarian first came on just to highlight the BlackSeminoleProject.com, and you obviously covering the portion of the Second Seminole War, or the Negro War, I like to call it. At the same time, I like to say Este-Lvste Wars, right? But presently, Este-Lvste right here, Anthony Conley, Black Seminole Freedman, is dealing with the situation. Shout out to your family, to Caesar Brunner. band. Shout out to John Horace family. Obviously, Lord Silas and others I can mention. In the situation, though, again, I want people to support y'all. That's why we have y'all here tonight for that part, to make sure that that's highlighted, because some people might not understand how presently there's people like yourself tied to family. You said 2,500 people that's in Oklahoma, that's in a citizenship position that should be technically, based off the article you just read, Article 2 you memorized and know, should be treated differently. And that Muskogee court case that I just played proved that the judge was going to side with the fact that the treaty supersedes the Constitution. You know what I'm saying? The treaty supersedes the Constitution. So I don't know how you guys can't, like, again, though, I want to bring attention to it. And then after that, before we end out of here tonight, Dr. Dixon, there's a couple things from your dissertation I would just like people to get some information about and some answers. So people that might not know about that, and also lead them to obviously not only go to the blackseminoloproject.com, but also go get your book. Anthony Conley, I appreciate you for tapping in with us tonight. And I look forward to having more conversation with you, man. And I hope everybody supports the. You said you had a GoFundMe though, just
Yes,
in
sir.
case. Do you know the name of the GoFundMe off top besides the Black Seminole Project part? Do you know that?
Not right now. I couldn't get in touch with our secretary, but I'm trying to get that right now.
All right, so
But
hopefully before the end of the show, you can still plug it in. You
Yeah.
can send it to us, and we'll put it in the chat. And anybody that watches it or after the fact, we'll put it there too, along with obviously blackseminoloproject.com. I want to make sure it goes to where it needs to go with y'all collective and the committees and etc. You know what I'm saying?
okay.
So I appreciate you again, man, for coming
All
on
right,
here.
thank you. Yeah, thank you for
All
having me.
right, thank you, man. Dr. Dixon,
Yes, sir.
I know my order was kind of thrown off, but we live, so it's cool. And I want it to be that way. Can we get this dissertation real quick? I want to ask you some questions with the dissertation situation I came across. And I wasn't just looking for by the way, I wasn't stalking you or nothing, Dr. Dixon. Don't look at me that way. Now, I ain't that kind of person. No Diddy. You know what I'm saying? I ain't that kind of person. Now, make a look. I got jokes, y'all. Messed up. This is page 6? All right, bet. All right, on page 6, I went straight to page 6.
Page 6. Hold on.
Page 6. You want to grab it? You got your dissertation back there? How long ago did you write this dissertation, Dr. Dixon? You want to give people a history on how long ago this is?
I finished it in 2007. It's
2000.
actually in the other room. You want to give me 1 second? Let me go grab it.
Patience is a virtue, Dr. Dixon. Go ahead.
All right. Be right back, gentlemen.
Patience is the virtue, everybody out there. While he doing that, let me get to my part. Hold on, God. Slide up, God. I want to get to the point. I don't want to be on point. We got about 30 minutes or so. Got a couple questions. Right now, no. Come back up. Come back up. Now go down a little bit. I'm gonna read it more. I ain't gonna cheat the people. Go up a little bit more. Go up a little bit more.
All right.
All right, I'm seeing. I'm live. Don't even know it. Go a little more. Just to hear me. Go a little bit more. Right there. Right there. Stop right there. Thank you. By the way. Yes, sir. Appreciate everybody for their patience too. By the way, Marana to you. Let me know whenever you're ready, Dr. Dixon. Page 6.
I'm ready.
You ready? All right.
Yeah.
On page 6 of your dissertation, it says the study is interested in the development of the Black Seminole Society with a degree of cultural and political autonomy. To a certain degree, it is not concerned with individual or group cultural characteristics that may be correspondent with the various regions in Florida, which extend beyond the realm of identifying the Black Seminole as a whole, The various regions of Black Seminoles are recognized in examining the military efforts during the war. Distinctions between runaway slaves and Seminole Indian slaves are only pertinent in this study when examining the interactions with the English settlers, you slide it up, and United States.
Right.
I'm gonna read a little bit more. I'm gonna let you give me a backdrop, and then I want to show you something, and then we're gonna go to the next page. But right here on this one, Black Seminoles alike were all cognizant in the harsh reality that any one of them could become a victim of a slave catching, stealing expedition. As you said earlier, before I put up the dissertation, I heard you mention that they didn't care, right? At this point, it didn't matter if you was mulatto, mixed, you know what I mean, 2/3, you know what I'm saying, 1/4. Yeah, they didn't care. That's what you were telling me earlier, right? So in this situation, is what your dissertation. Is there anything you want to say about what I just read in that part of your introduction?
I will put this tidbit in. I will put this tidbit in. When a absconded individual or a runaway comes into that village, right? They are not just accepted right off the bat. They did have to prove themselves. They had to put in work. They had to prove themselves because some could not handle living as a maroon, right? And the harshness. So there were some that actually went back to the plantation. Now,
that's true.
Here's the thing about
went back to work.
I
said they went back to work. Plantation was, you know what I mean? Like you said, they went back to work. Like it's
right,
living, say they went back to
living
plantation,
and
like,
eking out your own existence.
It's a little bit harder, like entrepreneurship.
Was a hard life, right?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
Other than that small factor, right? Once that person was, let's call it like it is, break it down in some simpler terms here. Once they bought in, right? Once they were all in, and they knew they were all in, right? There was no distinction among the Black Seminoles. To them, it didn't matter if your daddy was a Native American or not. You were in this village. We are in this thing together, because even though Indians may have made the distinction, particularly along the matrilineal lines and who belonged to a clan, right? As I said and mentioned earlier, white people did not. White people said all of them can go. And the only reason we won't mess with the ones who the Native Americans are claiming is because that may stir up another instance of war, that may drag out the war, that may mess things up. But make no mistake about it, throughout the war, slave catchers, plantation owners, overseers would all go up with the military onto these villages that they found, and they would start trying to claim people. And it didn't necessarily have to be someone that they thought, that they knew wasn't. If they had the ability to claim them, they were going to claim them.
Right.
They didn't care. See, that's the thing, right? Black Seminoles understood that any one of us at any time can be taken back or taken to, because we're talking third and fourth generation of Maroons. So we got people who were never enslaved, right?
Right.
Their grandfather, their grandmother ran away in 1697. And everybody since then been living as a Maroon, right?
In free territory, right? Based off Spain.
Right. But according to plantation society and whites, that didn't matter. If your granddaddy
Right.
was your granddaddy was a slave, was
You're gonna
enslaved,
be considered
rather,
that too.
then you still belong to somebody, right?
That's
Because
how they're
they,
looking at it.
and that was clear, right? The same way they set that mindset in the 1830s, it was clear when they used it during Reconstruction. Remember, they used the same thought that with the grandfather clause, you can't vote because you haven't been out of slavery long enough to understand it. So if your granddaddy was enslaved, your grandmama was enslaved, then the grandfather clause means you can't vote. You see, it's that same line of thinking. They just changed
I agree with you. I have to ask you a question though. Are you familiar with Carter G. Woodson? I know you are. Carter G.
Yes.
Woodson.
Yes.
And so because we do genealogy, shout out to Opie. He went state to state. You know what I'm talking about? When he did the Negro Heads of Family. Are you familiar with that book? The Negro Heads?
Vaguely.
Am I saying it right? I said it right? The name of the book? Okay, I had to make sure. So and he's showing, as you just said, even though dealing with the Seminole Southern situation, the jurisdictional situation after 1697, I did a timeline on a lot of things you just brought down, and I got thrown off today, so I didn't get to go through it, but I'm going to mention the timeline since you said 1697. So from 1685, what they call the Code in the War, there's 8 years later, Spain in 1693 passes the edict to abolish slavery. After 1693, in 1697, Carolinas is technically set up to be a boundary before Georgia became Georgia. Then obviously going into my next big marker is 1715, the Yamasee Wars, which is in the territories where the Savannah River and all that area. And that took place. And then 1735, or actually 1732, they passed the Black Codes in the 13th colony territory. And then in 1735, the colony of Georgia. I know I just walked about 40, 50 years with markers, right? But all that is before, that's 1735, all that's before the Seminole War time frame. You see what I'm saying? And it's blacks in these areas, free, enslaved. Do you agree with that? Going all the way up to 1830. So it's like, how do you look at that part of the, you know what I mean? Like being there's free people in 1830, but there's other people being treated like slaves.
Well, what do you mean by how do I look at it? Say that last part one more time.
All right. If Carter G. Woodson is saying in 1830 that there's free people of color, Negro heads of family, they're not slaves though. They're not the chattel slave that he's talking about in that book. And then we know in South Florida or in Georgia, in certain regions that were not underneath the jurisdiction in 1830, which is around the time frame going into the Second Seminole War, the Indian Removal Act, where they're calling people maroons. Shout out to my maroons. All right. But this is our heritage showing that everybody's not underneath the jurisdiction. But even though the white, as you say, or European, is definitely going to treat you that way if they can get a hold of you that way. You know what I'm saying? Based off of the codes and stuff being passed, is what I'm saying.
Right. There were blacks within plantation society that were free.
Thank you. That's what I want people to know.
There were, but let's call it like it is again. You are absolutely correct when you say any chance that they could do it and enslave them, they would. That is why they always had to have their manumission and free papers if they went outside of an area that they weren't well known. Because
I'm glad you said
going outside of that area where you aren't well known could get you recognized in their eyes
as a runaway,
as an escapee, right?
As a runaway, right?
As a runaway.
You're marooned. You're not in your jurisdiction where your village or your group of people know who you are. So now that you out here, if you ain't got the manumission papers, or like you said, free papers, showing that you were supposed to be traveling in this way, yeah, you can get scooped up. Basically, is what you're saying.
Look what happened to the brother Solomon when he went to D.C. Right? Look what happened to Solomon when he went to D.C. The same two white men, that he thought was his friends, all they had to do was say he was enslaved and sell it. That's all they had to do.
I'm gonna go back to your dissertation. I'm trying to get a couple of them in. All right, I'm going back to your dissertation. I'm trying to get from page 6 to page 25 with my questions. So I'm trying to squeeze them in. I ain't got that much time, but I'm gonna try to get these. And Anthony, is there anything you want to say between what you hear? You always can tap in. I ain't trying to leave you out. You here, so you always can. You know what I mean? Speak on any of this we talking about. You know what I mean? But you know, Dr. Dixon has done this information for everybody to really understand. And he said 2007. So it's like, that's what.
Don't do that, brother. I'm just kidding.
Don't do that. I was trying to put some age on you. Just now you're like, man, what are you doing to me right now tonight? No, I ain't gonna.
I'm just kidding, brother.
I seen in the Newman joint though. You had the fade and everything in that Newman joint though. I still
like my fade, brother. I still like my ball fade.
You were clean in that, man. Well, look at okay. And it's what page we on? No. What's the next page I'm supposed to go to? I don't want to skip to 25. I said I'm trying to get from 6 to 25. I ain't trying to go straight down.
You said go to page 25?
No. Page 9. Page 9.
Okay.
Page 9.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. I'm trying to catch up to you now, see, because I got thrown out here at page 25. So let me catch where I'm supposed to be going to. All right, boom. All right, so on this one right here on page 9, you say you showed a reference. So Richard Price, it says in maroon societies, delineates the distinction between a maroon society and a slave revolt by stressing the idea of autonomy. Historians have traditionally viewed Black Seminole society as a maroon community. However, the Black Seminoles' use of violence to repel the attempts of white Floridians and United States military to enslave them is also equivalent to a rebellion. It says by utilizing Bruce Timon's descriptions of the 5 levels of the slave rebellion, this study is able to examine the progression of Black Seminoles from solely a maroon society to a community in an armed rebellion. Timon examined 6 conditions relevant characterizing slave rebellions. These conditions were central government control, lack of central government control, treaties or concessions to rebels by central government, rebel alliances with powers hostile to the central government, regional autonomy of the rebelling group, and creation of a sovereign state of those in revolt. I'm gonna stop there. What you think about that from how you read it? I'm reading it to you, right? Your dissertation, but I mean, it's a lot of stuff going on, right? Autonomy means they're self-governing, as it's showed a state. They're trying to control. They're setting up a government. When they say the maroon communities, these aren't savages. These people aren't not civilized and not knowing how to govern themselves. Dr. Dixon, do you agree to disagree with that?
Right, they were organized, plain and simple. The organization developed over time, but they were organized. And the reason they were able to be organized is that they brought certain cultural characteristics with them. So those cultural characteristics helped identify them and therefore allowed them to begin to create their own types of society, right? That had structure, that had leaders, right?
Mm-hmm.
That had rules, right?
Right.
had all of these things.
I'm moving on to. Oh, go my bad. Go ahead. I'm on 11. Well, go ahead.
Okay, let me say last thing then. So
My bad.
what we're actually saying, right, is that they fit all the description of a maroon settlement, and that's what they were. They were maroon settlements eking out their own existence.
Right.
And then, not by choice, but by force,
at that time,
they were
correct.
forced into becoming a rebellious entity as well.
Right.
And so if you look further, I don't know if you go in there, you will see how I then outlined the characteristics and what was outlined as characteristics of a rebellion.
Okay.
And in that, we find that there were certain characteristics that are described as creating a rebellion that they displayed as well. But go ahead. You said page 11?
I'm on page 11. Page
All
11.
right, page 11.
I'm just trying to move along a little bit because I want
Okay.
to make sure I get all my joints in because you got some good stuff here. On page 11, can you move up a little bit on the screen on this page right here? There's a little bit more down into it, really. Yeah, it's really that one right there. I want to read.
Oh, we're talking about the types of revolts, right?
Yeah, this part. You see where it's going into that, right? You see it? You know what I mean? Because it goes in, it says a situational and opportunistic revolt was designed to facilitate escape from servitude and was situationally determined. By its simplest definition, this type of revolt best characterized the Second Seminole War. Black Seminole leaders' military strategy and negotiated policies were dictated at times by outside influence such as the strength of white opposition in a particular area in alliance with Indians. Thus, the Black Seminoles' actions were situation allied determined at times. Due to the character of the war, the rebellion displayed during various times the characteristics of all three types. However, when examining the overall impact, the Second Seminole War was a situational or opportunistic revolt. So you use revolt a couple of times in our conversation tonight, rebellion, but I'm hearing this word war. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at a war like, I look at a war like how the Creek Civil War. You know what I'm saying? Because and I know we run because this is a good conversation. That's why it happens like this. I got to give a shout out to the Gullah, because see, that the Gullah are also considered Black Seminoles, right? They've been labeled that as well. Gullahs are also being labeled as Black Seminoles during this war, right? But that Gullah War, they say, is from 17.
Yeah, they have. There are those
1858?
that refer to the Seminole Wars as Gullah Wars,
right?
But you have to understand it's only through the cultural ties, right, that we make that connection. And so you have to understand that once they go out to the Arkansas Territory, and eventually Oklahoma, those cultural ties change dramatically. So that the Gullah-centered culture then really transforms to a more Native American culture center, right?
Right.
And so there are historical things that that we see in other various places, not just Florida, but in other various regions, right?
Right.
That end up changing cultural ties and cultural aspects of the community. See, but that's why that's why the documentary is so important in taking the regional approach. because we have to look at them from those different regions. Because if you look at Oklahoma, we could say juxtaposed to Oklahoma, the Bahamas are absolutely, totally on the opposite end. The Bahamas not only retain a very, very high degree of Gullah culture, there are actually aspects in the Black Seminole culture in red bays in the Bahamas right now
Shout out to my
that hold
Bahamians, right?
on historically to original characteristics of Gullah more so than South Carolina today.
You know what? It's really
Because
as you
they
said that,
are
yeah.
so isolated, they were able to keep that culture intact without any of these larger outside influences.
Yeah, shout out to my Maroons in the Bahamas. Real talk. All the Black Seminoles, as they would say too, as well. They were and all the different Gullah, the wild. I mean, it's a lot of mixtures. As you said earlier, the term Seminole, as you know through dissertation and research and the book and everything, that it's not a monolith. The word Seminole is not tied to one cultural, one bloodline group of people. Through your own research, right? Of about
Right, it's
this.
homogenous. They were
All
a
right.
homogenous group.
All right.
There was one group that was primary and made up most of them, but they were not. They were still homogenous.
Right. So in your page 16, I want to make sure you know at the bottom of page
let's
15.
keep riding.
All right, page 15, the bottom of page 15. It starts at
15?
Wale Indians. Yeah, page 15 at the bottom.
Oh yeah, go Wale.
All right, Wale. All right, so the Wale Indians will continue to resist Spanish encroachment and control throughout the 16th century. In 1576, a major revolt again occurred, which lasted 4 years. Many of the Wale who participated were killed, and in 19 of their towns, scroll down for me, dog. We get to 16 now. It says were destroyed by fire. In 1583, a black labor force was sent from San Augustine to the settlement of Santa Elena, present-day Paris Island, to rebuild Santa Elena. After the Spanish regained control of the area, Santa Elena became the northernmost settlement of the Spanish. The Wale would continue to rebel against the Spanish until 1597, when another series of revolts was suppressed. As a result, the Wale settlements, particularly on the coast, went into a long period of decline and were eventually transformed into mission sites. By the end of the 16th century, Spanish settlements, particularly St. Augustine, were operating on a dwindling supply of slave labor and relying upon Havana for imported enslaved workers. Now, I want to stop though. That's in the 1500s, see?
Right.
You got the Wale Indians in dealing with, St. Augustine, Florida. St. Augustine, Florida, oldest town in North America, as they say, right? Tied to Spain, right? And at that same situation, you mentioned earlier that the Spanish, when they came, they described them and used the term Swarthy, right? So I mean, just in that situation,
that was
is
for
why
the Arawaks.
I mean, Arawaks in the Caribbean, but
right.
I brought up the Este-Lvste. You had blacked out on me earlier, right? And that's what kind of threw me off. It threw me off, to be honest, what I wanted to bring up at the time. And I got the source that I want to show you, right? Because of the fact, in this same time frame of 15, St. Augustine is tied to Nombre de Dios Amacaris, which is tied to a term in St. Augustine of 1565. This term Amacaris is tied to our heritage as well as the term Este-Lvste. The De Soto, Veracruz, Verrazano, all these different explorers or conquistadors, whatever term you want to use, tied to Spain, coming into North America, going from the East Coast of the Atlantic and crossing into the Mississippi, right?
Yeah.
DeSoto particularly. Matter of fact, give it to me. Give me the Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Because as the brother that was just up here with us, Anthony Conley, Caesar Bruner, the band is tied to Alabama. Obviously, I read that so I can make sure that was done, and he agreed to it. And at the same time, his heritage is tied to that area prior to it being called Alabama, which means technically it would have been called Florida. And at the time frame, and I pulled up just the city information so nobody think we capping, right? It's gonna show though, just so it shows here, even though that's the Creek War of 1812 in that first paragraph. I want to go down to that second, DeSoto. I want to go to DeSoto. I want people to see the DeSoto part. All right, so DeSoto is tied to Alabama history as an explorer that obviously in war, fought against the indigenous people that were in that area that wasn't even called Alabama in the time when he went. But it says in honor of the legendary. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Say again.
No, I'm saying correct. I'm with you.
Okay. All right. So it's saying that the legendary black warrior, a great chief who had a fateful encounter with explorer Hernando de Soto centuries before somewhere in southwest Alabama. The settlers named the place Tuscaloosa from the Choctaw word Tuska, meaning warrior, in Lusa. See that word Lusa, L-U-S-A, is another term like how we say Este-Lvste. You know what I'm saying? So from this time frame of DeSoto bumping into somebody in Alabama, which would be 1540, this term Este-Lvste, this term Lusa, that you can find in the Choctaw, Chickasaw, Seminole, Muskogee languages in their dictionaries, is obviously all saying it means Lusa, meaning black, like Este-Lvste, black folk. And this sweet, like you said, they described him as swarthy. And this term became this city, Tuscaloosa, is older than actually, as it says. Thus, the city of Tuscaloosa is one day older than the state of Alabama. But the word Tuscaloosa is tied to the explorer Hernando de Soto centuries, which is the 1540s, tied to your dissertation time frame of like, you feel what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? When I'm trying,
yeah.
Am I moving too fast? I might be moving too fast. Go ahead.
See now,
you can go back to the
that
dissertation.
Also goes back, right? That goes back to what I was saying earlier. These are the different pieces of evidence we have to thoroughly research and put together. You see what I'm saying? What you just used, brother, was linguistics.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying it's going to take it's going to take historians, it's going to take anthropologists, it's going to take linguistics, it's going to take archaeologists, it's going to take everyone putting in that research in order to come up with an undeniable, an undeniable truth that they can't dismantle.
And I want to obviously hope just me putting that part in, if you as a doctor can say that to me, I appreciate that coming from you as a person that's done a dissertation and you know what I mean, have this conversation with you, that you peep that I see that and understand that based off the heritage of me delineating and saying Este-Lvste, and knowing it's tied to Black Seminoles, Maroons, Wale, Yamasi, Agullah, Geechee. You know what I'm saying? I could name a lot of, you know what I mean, Choctaw, Chickasaw, because it's in the dictionary. When I was going to research my heritage of certain things, I'm seeing this word Lusa. We're using the word Lusa. And when you blacked out earlier, I said there was a new Spain, but there's also a new Lusitania. And New Lusitania is basically Portugal or the Portuguese. And that Lusa is tied to them. It's a Muskogee. The Muskogee dictionary has it saying that it's Sephardic. It has the roots in Sephardic situations as far as linguistics. So I always it ponders on me. So I always want to bring it to somebody like a doctor yourself, tied to this information that made it all the way into the 1866. Carla D. Pratt the professor in Oklahoma in the 2000s, around the time frame you were doing a dissertation, are saying these things, but I ain't hearing nobody really mentioning them. It stood out to me, being that I delineate in that way as a maroon and Este-Lvste, knowing this word goes back to 15, first contact with Spain. First contact, this term is being used. First colonies, Spain and Portugal, this term is being used to describe the people they're coming in contact with. Black warrior, Chief Tuscaloosa. This is 1540. So I want to point that out. We can go back to your dissertation, though. Go ahead.
See, now, here's something you should think about then. We should think about whether or not the term Lusa, right, is ever comes up in any of the documents on the continent. Because if it doesn't, right? If it doesn't, then there's another piece of evidence there that we're talking about a whole different set of black people.
I'm glad you brought that up, and that's why I want to build with you on that.
But
I'm just putting it out there for tonight. You know what I mean?
I bring it up because I want people to understand what it's really going to take to make this undeniable proof evident. You see what I'm saying? You gotta put all of those pieces together. That's one of the linguistic pieces that has to be further researched.
Real talk. I appreciate that. And in your dissertation,
yes, sir.
In your dissertation, back to what page we on? We're almost there. 23. So I got 2 more joints on your dissertation. I'm gonna let it go. It's a special night, so we going over, y'all. So you see it, right? So we're gonna tap in.
I
Shout out to
appreciate
Media
it,
Lounge.
It's been a long day.
I know. I'm sorry. I know you're tired, so I'm gonna let you go after these last 2 questions. And
I had
thank
to
you
bring
very
it all
much
the
for
way
joining
from
us.
Georgia this morning.
And I appreciate you tapping in, for this conversation, Dr. Dixon. Angolian origin compromise. This is 40% of the African-derived lexical items in Gullah, of which Black Seminole language, Afro-Seminole Creole, is derived. The Black Seminole name Dindi was an African-derived word in the Gullah language, meaning small child, and used to express endearment between boys and girls. The word.
Hold on, brother. Give me the page again.
Oh, okay. Well, page 23.
23.
Page 23.
All right.
Page 23. You want me to read? You want me to go back?
No. I'm familiar with it. I just wanted to get to it to get verbatim with you.
No pressure. Yeah. So where I think I'm gonna start right there where I said the word Dindi, and it is also listed by Phillips Morgan as meaning child in the Gullah language. The Afro-Seminole Creole language is an English-related Creole. It is a descendant or derivative of the Gullah language, due primarily to the isolation of the Black Seminoles and the Afro-Seminole Creole language. And this says, you put ASC, I don't know what that acronym meant. Or African Seminole Creole. He got me. See, God.
No, Afro-Seminole Creole. ASC.
Yeah, he got it. He got me. He put me on. Hereafter has, according to linguist Ian Hancock, preserved far more of his original character than has Gullah. In linguistic terms, creolization is a process in which the new language develops from the fusion of communicators that do not have a language in common. In the case of the Black Seminoles, ASC, earliest formations included the creolization of English and the mixture of West African languages. All right. So, people go back and forth about them, West Africans and how many people came over. On page 25, I think you go into that. I'm gonna let you get there ahead of me. You go into on my last part.
Yeah.
Page 25.
Okay.
But you mentioned this about the Gullah, because a lot of people have a question about the West African and the slave trade and how they get into the Carolinas. I didn't get tonight because of the show, and maybe next time we get together or something, I'll be able to pull up these other things I had. But I know, and I'm gonna mention it real quick. Francis Drake, in the same time frame of the 1600s, when the English and the Spanish are having their conflict about the Atlantic Coast trade system and territories here. He's bringing, even though he's fighting against the Spanish, he's basically a privateer for the English, or 13 colonies technically. And he's going to the Carolina coast with some folks out of South America. There will be some women, they say a lot of women, indigenous women. Obviously, they also mentioned Moors, North Africans, Turks. You know what I'm saying? And they're also being labeled maroons. And they're going into the Carolinas. I mentioned that because of the fact that other people outside of Francis Drake that we've come across, that I didn't get to show again, I had the source ready and everything, but time ain't gonna permit. But when it comes down to the West African part that you put in your dissertation, I wanted to hear your position of what your research led you about how these people mixed in and this culture began to be known as Gullah. Because I found something and I'm not going to even get to do it. I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to reach out to you. Maybe we can make it happen. But I wanted to get this in this. I'm going to go to page 25. You can go there. And while he goes there, you can answer anything about this, or I just said, or let you respond.
Okay. What we're saying, right? Or what I'm saying in this particular part is that at some point, right? At some point, those Africans, those blacks who were brought from Africa, right? They began to fuse their language and culture. The evidence in that is the Geechee language, which is a mixture of West African languages, and then parts of the actual Gullah culture. And one of the probably most outward would be the basket weaving technique, right? Which we can directly trace to Sierra Leone, present-day Sierra Leone, and the crew, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the question that I've always asked people, because these are questions that we have to answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to answer these questions. If we try to say that the blacks here who were enslaved were all already here, then how can we explain the basket weaving technique of the
That
crew?
came from over there.
Right.
I agree
So,
with that.
at some point, right, we have to say, even if, which we're on that road to doing, right, we definitively demonstrate that there were large number of blacks in this hemisphere. We still have to recognize that it was not 100% that got enslaved, that there was some percentage that was brought from West Africa.
Right.
Because that basket weaving technique is the evidence.
Now, again, some people might try to go back and forth about the. I'm going to say, because of what I do know, that yes, there was people
that's the thing.
Brought out of. Matter of fact, scroll down a little bit more on the joint on page 25. It's page 25.
See, that's the thing, brother. Right? That's the thing, brother.
We went to a basket weaving source. See, we got this.
It's
just
not
a little
about
feedback. See?
Right? It's not about trying to counter one another.
No, I'm not.
It's
Yeah,
about creating, like I've been saying for the last hour and a half or so, it is about creating a definitive
substantiation. Right. This
piece
is what
where they cannot. You see
refute.
what I'm saying?
Right.
So we can say definitively at some point, yes, we're going to say at some point definitively that there were blacks here in America in this hemisphere long before, and yes, there were some blacks that were brought from Africa.
And now I'm agreeing with that.
Then we are able to do even further research and break down the numbers. But see, you have to put it all together, which is what I've always been saying. But come on, what we talking about on page 25?
Yeah, but this is my last one. I'm gonna let y'all go.
Okay.
Thank y'all again for y'all patience. I think is it 1671? Or go down a little bit more. I think it's particular. I swear this is the page. I hope I ain't wrong. Okay, yeah. Actually, I wanted to get. Yeah, matter of fact, go back up. This is it. But I want everybody to know I don't go cheat nobody out of this last part. Oh, and this right here, you mentioned, I hope everybody got a chance to. I'm not gonna breeze through it real quick. It says South Carolina, Georgia, from 1670 to 1749. Both states relied heavily upon West African slaves. It is in this area that the Gullah language is formed in North America. Number 2, St. Augustine, ASC, is noted among the runaway slaves in St. Augustine, 1699. It says Andros Island from 1812 to the mid-19th century, black Seminoles began to take residence. Shout out to my Bahamians out there. Negro Fort, 1816. Black Seminoles are recorded living in the northwest area of Florida. The Negro Fort will be discussed later in the study, and that's a whole other conversation, right? But you talk about it a little bit more, and we can go down a little bit more, and we're gonna get to it. The part that I really want to get to, you slide down. 1820, black Seminoles are reported. We can slide down to Havana, Georgia. I mean, going to Cuba. Right here. 1739, Governor Manuel de Montiano officially established the town of Garcia Real de Saint Teresa de Moses, Fort Moses, hereafter, approximately 2 miles north of St. Augustine. Now, that location in 1739 obviously is recording and documenting that there's people living free in this area around this fort. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And they black. Would you agree? You agree with that part, right?
Right. That's because the Spanish created that space.
Right. I mean, they created the space, but that space is being definitely recorded because some people just don't know this, but black folk are living freely in this time frame in that area right there.
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that was clear.
And that is under the guise. That is under the guise of the Edict of 1693.
Exactly. So it's connected. From the time frame of 1693, you have free blacks living in that area leading up to this time frame when this governor is right there. You're agreeing with that. Free, enslaved, different cases. However, right? All right. So, I mean, Dr. Dixon, man, that's why the Black Seminole Project has so many dimensions to it. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's a lot to go through. And a lot of people to assess on the smaller to the complex parts of what took place. And it's connected to a lot of stuff. And that's why it's particularly, over here, the Autonomous Party. You mentioned Autonomous a couple of times tonight, reading certain things. So, we with that.
I don't want to cut you off, but I got to say this. This is some of the discussions that Brother Conley and I have had, that these types of things need to be discussed, right? Such that even black Seminoles in Oklahoma can have a clearer perspective on how they got to the point of where things started to change, both culturally and the dynamics between them and and I guess we'll call them the Reds or whatever you want to call them right now, right? But their counterparts, let's just say their Seminole counterparts in Oklahoma, You see, looking at those dynamics in Florida and how those dynamics began to change such that by that year-long trip, by the time they get to the Arkansas Territory, things are set on a path to where we are now, or where they are now, and these issues that they have to deal with. And so just like they're using, right, they're using the different treaties, right, that Brother Conley talked about earlier that they plan to get the lawyer with and take to DC, right? They also can look at those earlier connotations right around 38 when they began to even leave. So they understand all of those connotations and how they began to change and what really takes place out in Oklahoma to get them to where they got all of these negative changes that get them to where they are now in this very polar opposite relationship, because that's not the case in Florida. It's not just that they're not, and we've had Black Seminoles that we've already interviewed in Oklahoma that discuss how if they came to Florida, they would be able to do this, that, and the third, and they'd be able to get this without any problems, and that, and the third, which is true, you see. And so that's why it's important that we do this from the regional perspective. And that's why the historical piece has to be done first, so that we can get to them to the full understanding of how Brother Conley has to deal with the issues he has to deal with, because it's some of the negative thoughts that are based really on fallacies. They're based on falsehoods. So they have to get those things out there as well if they want to really begin to change the mind. Because like I said, younger people, just like another good example, in 2023, just a few months ago, not too long ago, the Miccosukee in South Florida put out a decree where they are now actually placing Juneteenth as one of their celebrations. And they have outwardly declared, right? They have outwardly declared that the destruction of the Negro Fort was indeed the beginning of the First Seminole War. See, and that says a lot. That says a lot in terms of how the relationships are going to go. That says a lot in how even historians here in Florida, because I've been going back and forth with historians, even some of the historians that helped me when I was doing my research, we disagreed on that point. I know one in particular, we disagreed. We saw each other a few years ago, and we still agreed to disagree. But now, with even this evidence now, how can he continue to disagree? You see? So you can't keep fostering that idea that we're giving to the younger generations. You have to tell the truth. The Negro Fort and the Black Seminoles and the destruction with the free blacks there, as well as those who had recently run away, they were all the catalysts for the First Seminole War.
I'm glad you said that. See, because some people don't understand, before there was a Seminole term being used to delineate what they call Muskogee and other groups that went into Spanish territory or separated themselves from the civilized ways of the Europeans, some people say, in the cases, whatever term they want to use. They were labeled maroons, Cimarron, Seminole, Yacht Seminole, free people. And they were free. And they were living in that territory, like you said, from 1693 easily. Tribes, free people, runaways, etc. And they became collectively in their situation from at least easily 1693, if not before, obviously. But however, in that centralized area leading up to Fort Negro, before it was called Fort Negro, Fort Moses. Well, Fort Negro was later.
Two different places now. Two different places.
Fort Negro and Fort Moses is older than Fort Negro, I should say. That's what I should say. My bad. You know what I mean? And people do make that. I'm glad you corrected me there. Fort Moses is older than Fort Negro. But
one
Fort
is
Negro
over in
is not
St.
too far.
Augustine. One is over in St. Augustine. The other one is about 65 miles southwest of Tallahassee.
Right. So they're in Florida, though. They're both in Florida. That's the part I want to make sure.
Definitely.
That they're both in Florida, and they're both black communities, as they would call it today.
Yes.
Negro communities. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
So that's part that I want people to free people, and this people just don't like to hear that for some reason because it is 1865 narrative. But Dr. Dixon, I appreciate you on your time tonight, man. I know you got to go, you know what I mean, on a Sunday night with your family and everything. I hope everything's well with you. I hope to see you again soon. Is there anything you want to say before you get out of here? We're gonna show you. Want to show the website real quick, guy, and show you our website for everybody that might not know. Every time you come on here, I'm gonna shout out to the Black Seminole Project. What up, Zarian?
Brother Conley, you still there?
No, he checked out. I don't know. He dropped off.
Yeah, he dropped off, but he kept. It was like me. He came back. He's dealing with the tornado, so there's no telling.
I know. I want to. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying. You say it like that, yeah. I hope he's straight. You know what I'm saying. I want to shoot.
From the
way he tapped into the tornado.
From the way they talk, you know, the way we deal with hurricanes, the way they deal with tornadoes, you know, other people, you know, we say a hurricane coming, you know, it's like, all right, time to go buy some wood, time to go this, time to go that, get the sand sacks together, you know, and other people calling from other places in the country. You all right? You did? Oh no, it ain't but a category 2. We ain't worried about no category 2. You know, that's the way they deal with tornadoes.
Well, we just showing a little couple of joints that's on the website. Rest in peace, by the way, to Louis Gossett Jr. Man, I know he's a part of the project as well. I know he passed away, you know, recently. So rest in peace to him as well. I got to meet him. Shout out to Zarian again. Yeah, man. You know, we can go to the top so everybody can just see it real quick. And then, again, Dr. Dixon, is there anything you want to point out on the website for anybody to pay attention to? The donations, we see you got things you guys are trying to do too.
It's all there. Here's the thing. We want people to understand how important this is. Like I said, this is a story, truly a story about Black unity, right? And that's the underlying theme. That's what we want people to walk away with. Even with the documentary, we want people, right, to understand the connectiveness that Black Seminoles have with the African diaspora, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then with the film, it's understanding that these three groups came together. True, you had some that had lineage with Native Americans. Their mother was Native American, so they grew up in Native American culture. Then you had those with the Native American father, or they had purely maroon families. They grew up with a more Gullah-centered culture, right? And then you had those that were running away, that could have been Gullah, or they could have come from any other place and not been Gullah. They just wanted to be free. So they were forced to live in plantation in English society. So those three groups with some different cultural backgrounds came together because they were all seeking freedom, which was being threatened regardless to their personal situation. The simple fact that they were Black meant that their freedom was threatened. And so it's coming together and understanding how many, what seemingly are unsurmountable odds can be overcome in doing so. So by all means, we encourage people to get the book. Get the book. Get the book
Definitely.
first. Read it. And keep up with the website. Support us. Support us by not just monetary. Yeah, we accept a donation. We love for you to help. You see what we're trying to do with Brother Conley and the other regions by helping them. Brother Conley and the Black Seminoles in Oklahoma need a lawyer, and we're trying to get that help them accomplish that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just financial though. We want you to also spread the word. When stuff comes across, go to social media, follow the Black Seminole Project. When you see something, share it. Hit the share button. We get all types of stuff. We get shared with little funny memes. We get shared with our kids and doing something in athletics all the time. That come across my timelines all the time. Some kid, doing something great on the basketball court or running track very well or something like that. These things got to resonate as being just as important too, and just as and needs to be shared just as much. It needs to move you the same way and share them. Brother Conley, he's back.
Yeah.
What else? Last words, Brother Conley.
Yeah, anything you want to say, Mr. Conley, before we get out of here?
Well, no, I've just been getting educated. I really, enjoyed Dr. Anthony telling all that. Some of that I hadn't not know. But did you get that GoFundMe in the chat?
Did we get it in the chat? We're gonna put it in the chat now. If
Black
it's not there.
Seminole Caesar Bruner Band,
Yes,
GoFundMe.
Yes,
Yeah, it's there. Black Seminole Caesar Bruner Band, GoFundMe.
Okay. Cool. Make sure it's there for everybody to tap in. We'll turn around and make sure after the live, we'll put it in the regular chat as well, so people will know when they go watch it after the fact tonight. The people that watched it live, that tapped in, we appreciate y'all and y'all patience with the conversation and our guests. Obviously, it's a lot of information. That's why we went overtime for this one right here, because we had to get a lot in. There's still so much more. I'm trying to tell y'all, we could do this for like another hour. So much stuff I had in store for this, but you know how it happens sometimes. We're gonna have to maybe pull up the part 3, something like that. Dr. Dixon, man, I appreciate your time. Anthony Conley, Black Seminoles out of Oklahoma. Obviously, I wish you the best. Este-Lvste, you know what I'm saying? I wish you the best. I mean, I got my maroon shirt on, so I'm in a maroon position down here in Florida. we not in the same position, but you know what I'm saying? I got my Este-Lvste hat on. No, shout out to Opie. We're going to get out of here, though, man. I appreciate everybody that tapped in with us, y'all. Have a good night. We'll see y'all next Sunday.
Brother.
I appreciate you all the time, Dr. Dixon. And Anthony, keep your head up, man. We gonna get it right. You know what I mean? You're gonna get it right.
Yes, we are.
Redemption.
We gonna get it right. That is for sure.
You know what I mean? You're gonna get it right. You know what I'm saying?
And Mado is the way we say it in Seminole here. Thank you for having me on here.
All right, no pressure, man. Same to you. I appreciate you guys taking the time again, because to share this with people, and being a person tied to the ancestry of the Bruner Band, and you have you on the show, some people might not take it as a big deal, but really it's a big deal. And you can talk on behalf of that person's and heritage you're tied to, and show people presently there's this war going on outside. Nobody's safe from. You know what I mean? And you're going through it right now. 2,500 people, you say, that are going through it, that you're representing in a certain case of what you spoke about tonight. So I don't take it lightly. I appreciate you once again. Thank y'all both.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, y'all have a good night. Peace, y'all.
One love.
And so to next week Sunday, we live on Music Media Lounge. Make sure you tap in with us. This Tuesday we got Lee Cummins in the building with us. It's a Q&A, the Negro Question Series. You'll see it pop up on the YouTube joint. If you want to ask any questions, it's going to be tied to the Benjamin Franklin 1751 Observations of the World. Tuesday, we live. That's exclusive. Next week, Sunday, Mother Day. You know what I'm saying? Matriarchs, matrilineal. Tap in with us. Shout out to all the ladies. We're going to be talking about some things. We got a special guest too. Shout out to Miss Angela. You know what I'm saying? And all the ladies too. Miss Annette, Miss Sherry, Bria. You know what I'm talking about? Obviously, my own family, my mama, my wife, my daughter, all the sister. So tap in with us. We're going to play this journey out of here. Peace. Maroon.
This could take quite a bit of time.
Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces. How the fuck you bummy and broke with a pair of races? My lineage free people of color with a left make each nigga. This right here maroon, now it ain't burgundy. If you plotting murder, I'm certain that you'll need surgery. Hurt from when the burner squeeze. Protecting tribe business. Only consulting with governments, tribe to tribe with it. Please don't confuse us with those considered native. Semi-autonomy never was in our nature. Just address me as Este-Lvste. Wild Indian status and Cherokees riding Ruchis. In my war bonnet, if you want it, bring it to your region. And black force is the same color the European. Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folks. You never find a white aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're all dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't like to be called an aborigine.